Saturday, college football kickoff show, Saturday, October the 9th. It's Ian Cameron, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss will be joined momentarily as well by Conor Mac, and we are excited for another Saturday of college football action. Every single game on the board. I guarantee you nobody's doing this but us here at Pub Sports Radio, and looking forward to it. Guys, let's get to it. It's hard to believe it's been a month into the season already. It's college football. We wait and wait for it patiently, and then when it gets here, it flies by. This year, no exception. Let's get to it. We will start with, obviously, as always, the noon kickoffs. Michigan State and Rutgers to get us going. Big Ten action here. Michigan State 4.5-point road favorites. 49.5 the total in this game. Everything that could go wrong for Rutgers did go wrong last week against Ohio State. You play against a team of that caliber, you just can't give up a quick touchdown. You can't throw a pick six in your own territory in the first 5 minutes. And it was pretty much all downhill from there last week for Rutgers against Ohio State in that defeat. Michigan State, boy, they have been one of the more impressive teams so far this year, just based on, the fact that last year didn't go well for them. And give Mel Tucker credit. I had questions about whether he was the right guy for the job, but it's been a nice start to the year for Michigan State. They've had some nice wins like Northwestern, Miami. They beat up Western Kentucky last week, playing pretty good football. And, a good point spread team as well. Rutgers had been a perfect ATS team prior to last week. We'll see how it goes here. I don't really love a side in this game because these are two teams that I view bet-on teams. And I do like the quotes from Rutgers after last week. Schiano and the players were still very upbeat, very positive, saying, hey, we just had a terrible game. Park it. Be better. Have a good week of practice. Come back strong. And I think they will, but I still think Michigan State probably is the all-around better team. I think more explosiveness and balance offense with Walker at running back, with Peyton Thorne at quarterback, and probably defensively, Michigan State. Rutgers have been very good defensively prior to Ohio State, but Michigan State's defense has been solid so far this year as well. So it's two teams I would rather bet on in this spot than bet against. So I'm passing on the game, just a small lean at 49.5 because, Michigan State's really put up some points. Seems a bit low, and I think Rutgers, look, their offense, I think, will be a little bit better today after what happened last week. So at 49.5, I lean over slightly, but just a slight lean there for me. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, Michigan State, Rutgers?
Yeah, two money-making teams if you're backing them, from the get-go early on. 3-0-2 with the Michigan and 4-1 ATS for Rutgers. So I try to peel this game apart a little bit. The only angle I come up with here, we've seen the lines tick down in Rutgers' favor. I think it's at 4 right now. I think it opened like 5.5. But Michigan State at home, they've been averaging 9 points against at their house and 19 overall. So I try to look at a little team total possible spot here. I don't see much value either way, but maybe I would look towards a team total against Rutgers. I don't know what that number is currently, but I would think maybe I would lean that way. Michigan State's defense at home has been pretty stellar.
Yeah. Oh, it's in New Jersey, this one.
It's in Jersey. Okay, so take that one away then. My bad.
No worries. Thanks to everybody, by the way, in the chat for joining us. People are saying, Ian, Ragoo, Big Boss. Thanks, guys, says Kevin. Well, thank you, because you're joining us too early on a Saturday morning. So that helps us too, that we've got viewers, that we got people in the chat, people tuning in already. 61 live viewers and counting. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that. Boss, what do you think here? Michigan State, Rutgers.
Definitely a pass for me, man. Last week was a little sticky. We going deeper into some conference play this week. So, some things are a little bit more clear, and this one's not that clear. Both of them play really good defense. Michigan has been able to move the ball and score some points on offense, which is a little rare for Michigan State. But, the better team, like you said, is obviously Michigan State. But, many will probably go straight to the under on this. Both teams playing really, really good defense. Looks like an under game. Like they kind of similarly built alike. And when they come together like this, I like to go contrarian, and I would go with the over in this one.
All right, good stuff. All right, we moved from one Big Ten game to another. It's Maryland and Ohio State. This is the Fox game, big noon with the Gus Johnson special, if you will. Ohio State, 21.5-point home favorites in this one. 71.5 now is actually the total widely available right now. I do like this over, but, at some point it's going to get a little bit high and a little bit rich, but I still think it can get there. you look at Maryland's offense now. I will say this as a disclaimer: the injury and the loss of Dante Demas at receiver for Maryland is significant. He's arguably the best receiver on the team. He was targeted quite a bit by Talia, and being without him is definitely going to be a detriment to this offense. But when you look at Maryland, they went up against one of the best defenses in the country, one of the absolute best secondaries in the country. They have been ball hawking all season, Iowa, and they just completely flustered Maryland last week. Ohio State still has defensive holes, and in particular, in the pass defense, the type of holes that I think Maryland can exploit a little bit and score some points in this game. But on the flip side, I don't know if Maryland's going to stop or slow down Ohio State all that much. We saw C.J. Stroud return from a one-game absence last week against Rutgers. It was an outstanding game, maybe his best game as a quarterback with Ohio State. He picked apart Rutgers. Travion Henderson, outstanding running the football. We know how good the O-line's experienced. We know how amazing the receiving core is, some of the best in the country with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. A really good tight end, too, and Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, they've got just so many different weapons here, Ohio State. And look, Maryland's defense, it's not a good – in that blowout loss to Iowa last week, it's not a good sign that they gave up almost 300 yards of passing to Spencer Petras, who is a guy that has not really been known to chuck the football for those kind of yards at any point this year, not even close. He hasn't even come close, guys, to 300 passing yards in any game, and he almost got that against Maryland last week. So that's not good news for the Maryland defense against this Ohio State Buckeyes offense, especially playing them on the road here in Columbus. So I think this is like a 49-24 type of game. I think Ohio State gets into the high 40s, and you can get at least low 20s out of Maryland, and there's your over right there. That's the way I see it. It's a high number, 71, but that's the way I would go, is to the high side in terms of this total. I would go favorite or pass Ohio State in this game, but I just don't want to lay 21 and a half now that it's gone up. Below 21, I'm interested. Not at 21 and a half, maybe a first half look potentially on Ohio State here. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Great breakdown there. Totally agree with you on the looks that we're getting from Ohio State currently. And, that shit show that Maryland put together last week, 7 turnovers is unbelievable. And, naturally other things are going to happen when a game goes that way for you. But I think, C.J. Stroud is coming to his own a little bit. They do have the question marks on the defensive side, so that probably yield points both ways. So it's a high number to climb up, but it's either Ohio State or pass. But 4 scores is a lot too, But even though they're in the horseshoe and they still have some question marks, it's a pass for me. But I would probably lean Ohio State. That's just a strict lean. If you get 21, I know half a point means a lot in everything in football and all sports it does, but. You're talking 4 scores here versus 3, so that's a big up.
Absolutely, it is. Boss, what do you think here? Maryland, Ohio State.
I'm definitely a pass for me. The jury's still out on Ohio State. We don't know what we're going to get from week to week with Ohio State. So I'm going to sit back and watch those. And everything that I said about Maryland when they played Iowa was true on their side. I don't trust Tua. I don't trust them. I don't trust their defense. So they're kind of a fade team anyhow. And the total's just ridiculous in this one. And I don't want to be sitting there with a stupid ticket and the game's just going the whole opposite way.
Yeah, I understand that, definitely. We got our guy, Conor Mac, with us. See, asking you shall receive. I said he'd be here. Here he is. Conor, what do you think? Maryland, Ohio State here.
I'm off this one like you guys are. I think, like Boss just said, I think Maryland was kind of frauds, and then they had that horrible game. They had a few good wins early on in the year. I don't want either side. Yeah, this is a dead pass. I kind of would lay it with Ohio State maybe early. Are they that team, the same team that just whipped Rutgers, or there's still kind of a bad defense that I think is leaky. So Maryland could score some points, but you're right, the total's huge, over 70, and yeah, the number's right on, I think, at 21, so it's a pass.
All right, pass for Conor Mac. We move on to, this is the beauty of the day here. Akron and Bowling Green, a little Maction, and put on at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the Mac here. Although Bowling Green's good, I should say.
Hey, Bowling Green, man. They've been winning me some tickets the last few weeks.
Yeah, Akron is, Bowling Green's been good. They've been a good point spread team this year. They have actually covered every game, Bowling Green. Yeah. So I got to give them a little more respect. But what I mean is they're not an exciting team to play, to watch, I should say. Bowling Green, 14-point home favorites, 45.5 to 12. No, there's no doubt they've improved. Their defense is very good. Bowling Green. But their offense is still sketchy. This offense is barely getting to 20 points a game, barely, if that. And a lot of games they're falling short of that. And you're talking as good as Bowling Green has been, guys, covering point spreads. You've got to be able to punch in some touchdowns and score some points if you're going to cover in this kind of price range. And, for Bowling Green, this is kind of new territory for them this year. They've been absolutely outstanding, as I mentioned, 5-0 against the spread. Only 2 and 3 straight up, but the point spread record's been terrific. They had the amazing upset over Minnesota, 14-10. They've covered in every game this year. They covered at Tennessee early in the year, 38-6. Last week against a very good Kent State team, 17-point dogs. You were worried about a hangover in that game, and they were toe-to-toe with Kent State, lost 27-20. And their defense has been vastly improved. But the offense now, we're in a totally different price range. They've been dogs in every game, and now they're laying 13 or 14 here against an Akron team that, look, is not good. We know that. Their only win was against an FCS team. Against Temple, they lose by 21. They lose by 50 at Auburn. They lose by 52 at Ohio State. And against Ohio last week, I took the points with Akron, saying Ohio can't be laying almost double digits to anybody. Oh, yes, they can. Ohio beating Akron 34-17 last week. So this is a clear pass for me. I could only look Bowling Green because they're the undefeated point spread team. They've cashed every time. I don't like going against teams that are perfect ATS, unblemished. But boy, I'm not rushing to lay 2 touchdowns. And on the flip side, I can't take any part of Akron anymore, not after last week. So pass for me. Conor Mac, what do you think here, Akron, Bowling Green?
Yeah, this is where, Bowling Green's covered for me for the last few weeks, where I got to check it. Even how bad Akron is, I think Bowling Green could cover, but now you're laying 2 touchdowns. This is not a spot that I want Bowling Green. So it's a pass for me as well. I'm going to, like you talked about, this offense is real slow with McDonald, real run it. They barely get 20 points. The team that barely gets 20, even though they have a great defense, they should hold Akron down. Right now, I don't want to lay 2 touchdowns here for Bowling Green.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I'm not a matching guy, but peeling this one back, both offenses are horrible. Actually, 115 and 126. and I think I try to look at the total a little bit. I figure find a little spot there. But even there's no value in and it's 47, 46, whatever it's topped at or bottomed at right now. But I couldn't find either way there. So I would lean towards the under possibly because both teams struggling offensively and probably like a little bit better like you said, better defense on the Bowling Green side. And Akron's aptly named with the zip, so you'll probably get zip wins this year.
Yeah. The number of points, zip. Number of yards,
Zippo,
zip.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. Great. It's a perfect name for them with the kind of year they're having right now. Boss, what do you think here, Akron, Bowling Green?
This game came up on my under radar, and I looked into this one a little bit. But too bad somebody told the books already, and they set the number way too low. But try to make a case for Bowling Green in this one, and really can't make a good case for Bowling Green. Like everybody's aroused, and the media that they're 5-0 ATS, but at the same time, overall they're 2-3. And what's even more concrete on that is that the defense is playing really well, and they're 5-0 to the under. So it was a spot for under, but somebody let the word get out. So it's a little bit too low for college football. So I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah, it's under or pass for me, but you're right. We're talking 46. It could still get there. I could see this being 24-20, 24-14, something like that. We stay in the MAC now with Northern Illinois and Toledo. Toledo, 13-point home favorites, 51.5, 52 the total in this game. I'm probably not going to bet against Northern Illinois again. I did that last week and paid the price. I mean, weird game against Eastern Michigan. I mean, Eastern Michigan just didn't come out ready. I mean, it was bang, 2 drives right down the field. Northern Illinois went. They actually played pretty even after that, but you can't dig yourself that kind of hole if you're Eastern Michigan, and they couldn't get out of it. Northern Illinois hangs on 27-20. They got outgained, though, in that game by 50. They got outstat in terms of minus 1.6 yards per play. Eastern Michigan didn't really hang on to the football very well. So it's kind of I don't want to say a fraudulent win, but, didn't play as good as that final score indicates. Northern Illinois. We'll see how they can handle this Toledo team, which is bounced back from 2 losses against Notre Dame and Colorado State. They beat Ball State, won and covered on the road 22-12, and then they pummeled UMass 45-7. The offense is getting better. I mean, I haven't been the biggest fan of Carter Bradley. This is a program that's had Logan Woodside. This is a program that's had Eli Peters and some pretty good quarterbacks in the past. And Carter Bradley kind of up and down early, but he's starting to play better. More than anything, this defense is playing very well for Toledo. You know, the last few weeks, especially in MAC play, 12 points to Ball State, shut down UMass. And this is a pretty good defensive football team. So I think on the road, Northern Illinois might struggle to move the ball. 3 straight unders for Toledo, 2 straight for Northern Illinois, and that's the way I lean. And the betting markets guys seem to agree. 54.5 is where the total opened. It's down to 51.5 now, and I agree. I think it goes under the total. Lower scoring game here. Conor Mac, what do you think? Northern Illinois, Toledo.
Yeah, this game's a pass for me, but I have to say, Northern Illinois, I'd almost look to take the points with them. You know, they beat Georgia Tech. They lost to Wyoming in that 50-43, and then they got whipped by Michigan, but beat Maine and Eastern Michigan. So they've been in these games. Toledo's been good. Not been too impressed. But laying 2 touchdowns, it was just a game I wanted no part of. But I'd lean with the points here, Northern Illinois.
I kind of would too. I don't like the statistical profile we're seeing for Northern Illinois, but we always see this. There's sometimes teams that, hey, they're losing the stats, they're getting outgained, they're losing yards per play, and yet somehow they get the money and cash a ticket for you. That could be what Northern Illinois is. I just don't like Rocky Lombardi all that much. Yeah, he's been a little bit better, but he's still made some terrible mistakes, and he's had to have the run game work for him. That's the thing. If they can't run the football, that's trouble for Northern Illinois. And the one thing that scares me a little bit here, well, Toledo on defense has only given up 3.3 yards per rush, 127 yards per game on the ground. This is a team that's got to be able to run the football, Northern Illinois. Lombardi's not going to do it through the air for you, and that could be trouble. Toledo's run defense is good, so that's the only thing that would worry me about Northern Illinois plus the points, but it's also why I like the under in this game because I don't think they're going to be able to run the football as well. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
A little bit of struggle at home for Toledo this season. Both their losses, 3-2, both come at their house. So maybe it bodes well with the under and taking the points in this spot. But I'm off this game.
All right, boss, what do you like?
Man, you know, I'm still mad at Toledo for losing to Colorado State, so I can't take Toledo in this spot right here. But
not good to hold a grudge.
Hey, I'm gonna lay it where I lay it. You gotta go where your bets and your pockets take you. And this one it's not taking me nowhere near there. I'm not trying to be on the MAC game on a Saturday. It's too many on the board. Yep. And you know, I lean MAC overs. And this one kind of has underwritten all over it, but I'm off.
All right, we go from the MAC to the SEC. Next up, we've got South Carolina and Tennessee. Tennessee 10.5-point home favorites, 56.5 the total. The total opened 52.5. It's up to 56. I think bettors are seeing what I'm seeing here, and I agree with that move to the over. This Tennessee offense is really starting to get things rolling big time with Hendon Hooker at quarterback. And, you know, if I'm Josh Heupel, I keep going to this guy because he's better than Joe Milton. There's nothing Joe Milton can do as good to me as Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker's the guy that's really gotten this offense going for Tennessee since he's taken over. He came in the Pittsburgh game. They put up 34 points in that one. Obviously, Tennessee Tech throw that out. They struggled against Florida, but they moved the ball. They only got outgained by 82 yards. They just had turnovers in that game, you know, installing drives. And then against Missouri last week, they had 62 points. The offense went up and down the field. This team's definitely better offensively with Hendon Hooker, the Virginia Tech transfer. He's been good. But now are we overvaluing Tennessee just a little bit after one game? I mean, I know it was an impressive beatdown in Missouri, 62-24, but Missouri's not stopping anybody. Missouri on defense probably couldn't stop DJ Big Boss, Big Ragoo, Conor Mac, or me this year. That is how atrocious they've been defensively, this Missouri team. Absolutely awful. In fact, so bad I think they fired their defensive line coach after that Tennessee game. So, you know, that's the thing. I mean, we're all of a sudden Tennessee's a double-digit favorite here because of what they did in one game against a horrible defense. I don't know about that. What I know about South Carolina is they're well coached under Beamer. You know, I think so far I've liked what I've seen from them. They've been competitive. Other than the Georgia game, guys, they beat ECU. They only lost by 6 to an improved Kentucky team. They beat Troy last week, won and covered 23-14. They're not going to win games pretty. They're not going to blow out teams. But when you're talking about getting 10.5 with a team like South Carolina, that's appealing to me. Getting double digits, especially against still a leaky Tennessee defense. I'm not sold one bit yet on Tennessee's defense. So hopefully Luke Doty and the South Carolina offense shows some balance. They want to run it. They want to sprinkle in the pass, stay balanced, stay on time, stay ahead of the chains. I'd look to South Carolina getting double figures. I think Tennessee just a touch overvalued after that win against Missouri. Now, I'd worry about what happens if they fall behind. Because if they get behind 3 touchdowns or more, South Carolina is not the offensive team that can erase a deficit. They got to keep it close, but I lean South Carolina. The over's gotten hammered, and I kind of see why. Because Tennessee's playing hyper fast in terms of their tempo, and obviously a lot of explosiveness with that offense. Conor Mac, what do you think here with South Kakalaki and Tennessee?
Yeah, I think the move to Hooker is the right one, and he's got a great name, Hendon Hooker. So I lean this is different because Tennessee over team, like you talk about, super up tempo, while South Carolina is under 4-1 to the under. I'd actually lean under. I think South Carolina's defense can slow them down a little bit, and I lean the points. I have not gotten to the window. I think South Carolina's in this game. How much can their offense do? I think they can move it a little bit because Tennessee's defense isn't great either. So I'm strong here with South Carolina catching the points to 10.5 here.
All right, good stuff. They've struggled to run the football, South Carolina. That concerns me. 122 rushing yards per game, 3.5 yards per carry. Can they get that going against Tennessee? Tennessee's had some good games defensively against the run, some not so good. So which one will it be today? Big Ragoo, what do you think?
I don't know if we get fool's gold with Tennessee or not, because you go back, you look at that Pittsburgh game and the last game where they put up a bunch of points. And then, when Pitt it goes in and demolishes my best play week gone by, when I had that Georgia Tech play. I mean, that was an eye opener. So I don't know what to expect here. I know what I'm going to get with South Carolina. I know I'm going to get a solid defensive effort. I know I'm going to try a little bit of a more balanced attack, because Heupel's going to run that up tempo like we know he likes to do. And then, like you said, he found the spot with Hooker at quarterback. So I think I know what I'm going to get with South Carolina, and I'm not sure what I'm going to get with Tennessee. So give me the points and the South Kakalaki guys. That's my second home team, by the way, too. I follow this team very close, so they're going to be on the money today. They'll be up for the game. They'll play hard.
Yeah, I think they will too. And look, they had the non-conference game against Troy, and we'll see. The key is they got to contain that offense because they're not a quick strike offense. They're not we can erase a big deficit team, South Carolina. So they got to stay within arm's reach of Tennessee in this game.
Yeah, they let it get out of hand. It could get ugly for them fast.
Yep, exactly. Boss, what do you like here?
Man, this show is now getting weird because I agree with everything. I think we're all on the same page about everything. I lean under. I can't trust Tennessee. Technically, if I looked at this game a few weeks ago, I would have said this is a little small bum fight right here. But since these teams are both 3-2, they kind of iron things out. But they are the lower tier of the SEC, and like the low is the low and the high is the high over there at the end. So it's a good battle right here to be taking the points with South Carolina against a team with so many question marks. So I agree with everything y'all said, South Carolina and the under.
All right, we have West Virginia, Baylor, Big 12 action. Baylor 2.0 favorites, 44 the total. People rushing to bet West Virginia here. I don't trust them on the road, and I don't know if their offense can move the football consistently against a very good defense. And Baylor's got a very good defense, and you'd expect them to be better defensively this year. That's Dave Aranda. That's his background. Great job at LSU as the DC. It's what got him this head coaching job. And they have a very good defense, I think, Baylor. And we've seen that on display this year. And for West Virginia's offense with Jarrett Dagey, it's still very, very hit or miss. They end up having a really poor loss last week at home, losing outright as 7.5-point home favorites to Texas Tech, who had Henry Colombi, the backup quarterback for them. Disappointing loss. I'm sure they'll play a lot better here, but on the road, we've seen some up and down performances. They lose to Maryland. They hung tough against Oklahoma, 16-13. But if they lose by 3 here to Baylor on the road, they're not going to get the money for you. And I like Baylor a little bit here. Now, Jerry Bohannon, he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. And West Virginia's got a very good defense as well. So, it's going to be a battle of two teams with The defenses are better than the offenses. Who's going to make that extra play? Who's going to make that critical play, that big gain offensively at a key time in the game? That's really what's going to decide this one. Last year, Baylor, first year of Aranda, things went wrong for them. It was a tough year for them. And yet in Morgantown, they still hung tough and lost in overtime to West Virginia. And now I think they've taken a step. So I like Baylor here. I wouldn't lay more than 3, but you don't have to. So Baylor money line, Baylor -2. That's the way I would play it here in this one. I think they'll get the win. I also lean to the under. I know it's a low total, 44.5, but boy, this has a 2017 win for somebody written all over it this game. It should be a defensive battle. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the under. I know it's only 44.5, but both these teams struggle on offense. Both have really good defense, and there's not a lot of room. In college, 44.5, you're not getting a lot there. But I'd still lean under. And I don't trust West Virginia on the road, so I'm with you. I'd only be on Baylor less than a field goal here at home. Yeah,
definitely. And Big Ragoo, what do you think here? West Virginia.
Not so fast, my friends. Okay, step back
right.
a little bit here. Let me throw some numbers at you, right? West Virginia on the road versus winning team 7-1 ATS. Last 3 in the series. West Virginia 3-0 ATS. 2 out of 3 outright, and when they were favored in 1-1. So it's all West Virginia for me. I'm gonna stay within the battle. I'm gonna go with the history here and the recency bias on both teams, taking the points and the money line. West Virginia.
All right, West Virginia to get the job done here in Waco. Yeah, it's like I said, this is not a game that's high up on the card, but I like to throw out something where I would bet it if I had to. And
me too. I do have a play on the under.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have the side with Baylor, but I do have a play on the under 44.5.
It'll be close though. If you're getting involved betting this game, it's going to be one of those games. Probably it's going to be decided like with less than 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's the kind of game
it's going to be a barn burner. I'm not a barn burner, but you're going to be on the edge of the seat at the end of the game, whichever side you're on.
Yeah, exactly. Boss, what do you like here? West Virginia, Baylor.
I don't really care to play this game right here, but I'm not sold on Baylor. If you look at their schedule, they haven't really played much. They played the Iowa State team that I feel is suspect as well. But West Virginia, they're on the road, and they're a team that pack defense. Defense is one of the best things you can pack when you're going on the road. So I would lean taking some points and taking West Virginia.
All right, next up, we've got Vanderbilt and Florida. Florida, 39-point home favorite, 60 the total. I'm so tempted to take a little small piece of Andy here at plus 39 and just dare Florida to win a game by 40 points. I don't know if they can do that, to be honest with you. I mean, they played South Florida. They only won by 22. They played Florida Atlantic. They won by 21. Their biggest margin of victory was Tennessee, by 24. Vanderbilt's obviously a lot worse than Tennessee, of course, but I mean, we're talking 40-point margin of victory required. And look, I'm not saying that Vanderbilt's very good. Beating UConn last week, 30-28 is nothing to write home about, but at least we saw, some offense from Vanderbilt after getting shut out completely by Georgia. Ken Seals had a better game, 27 of 40, 333 through the air. And Florida, with their quarterback situation this year, are they the type of – they don't have Kyle Trask. They don't have that downfield vertical passing game to the extent they had last year where they were piling up big points and they could cover these big numbers. When you're talking Anthony Richardson and Emory Jones, they're 2 quarterbacks. They're more intermediate, short to intermediate passing game, run the football a little bit more, not conducive to a 39-point favorite. So lean Vanderbilt, believe it or not. But the one thing that does concern me is Florida's off the loss against Kentucky, and they might want to just beat the hell out of somebody. And certainly Vanderbilt, if they play like they have in some of their games this year, the Florida could be capable of that. But nevertheless, at this number, I'm either playing Vanderbilt or I'm passing the game. Conor Mac, what do you think? Florida.
Yeah, Florida off that loss. I think they come out well here. But Vandy, I mean, other than the Georgia, they beat Colorado State. They lost by 18 to Stanford, and they barely beat UConn. I'm with you. If I were to, I'd have nothing in this game. I think Florida favored by 31, 33 in this one. So I think there's a little bit of value with Vandy actually here with the points.
This could also be Cincy Temple part 2, where I thought, wow, lots of points here, dubious spot. for the favorite, and Cincinnati comes out and wipes the floor with Temple. That could happen here. Mark, I think Florida first half, yeah, that might be something. If you like Florida, I'd prefer first half than full game. There's no question about that. I think the first half would be the better option if you're going to back the Gators. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, that's a big number to get up there. I know Florida, they've been averaging. I think they've been averaging like 34 points a game at the Swamp. They are going against Vandy. It is a lower SEC, but still it's SEC ball. And usually when teams lose in college, I'm not a big bounce back guy in college. It's not like the pros, obviously, but sometimes it takes a little bit to get to shake off a tough loss for these guys. They definitely win the game. I mean, there's no question about that. I seriously doubt they lose that game at home. But laying that big number, and I don't like when you get in these two quarterback systems, because you really don't get into a good flow per se of the game. Like you were saying with Trask, if Trask was in there, he'd be rolling. He'd throw like 50, 60 times in a game and rack up about 400 yards, some big number like that. I don't see that happening here. I just see more of a maybe a first half, maybe a top first half number. Maybe you lay like 20, 21 points, 22 points, something like that. So you got to go up by 4 scores early, and then just sit on your laurels and just let the defense grind it out.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's probably going to be the way they go about things here in this game. But we got to help our guy Dom out in the chat. Vandy, I think is what he's referring to there. Yeah, Vandy.
Vandy Candy.
Vandy Commodores. There you go. Boss, what do you think here? Vanderbilt, Florida.
This game got to be bookie bait. I mean, either they set the number so high they couldn't set it no higher, or they just trying to bait people in to thinking that, they got some value taking Vandy. I don't know what the series between these two is. That'd be something you probably want to look and see what the history of it is. But, the smart guys over there at Vandy and Florida, they probably got beef because Florida came out with Gatorade, but I'm off this game.
No, absolutely. But in terms of, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes here with Vanderbilt and Florida in terms of whether Florida is focused and capable of getting the job done going into this game. So it'll be interesting to see if they've got that for them going in this game. All right, let's move on. We've got one of the bigger ones coming up here, Oklahoma and Texas in the old Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas. 3.5 point road favorites here are or neutral field favorites, I should say, are Oklahoma. 64.5, 65 the total in this one. So I've been betting against Oklahoma a lot. I took a couple of teams against them lately. Kansas State covered, even though Oklahoma won. West Virginia covered against Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma won. But the problem is, they were laying bigger points in those games. We're talking about laying 10, laying 11, laying 14, 17 against West Virginia. Now they're, 3 points. I mean, all they got to do is basically win the game. So it's a little bit of a different point spread range here. Nevertheless, I still lean a little bit to Texas. I'm going to still dare Oklahoma a little bit to show me what they're about. I mean, Texas continues to impress. Look, not pretty against TCU last week, but they got the job done. That's all that matters. Casey Thompson's been definitely better than Hudson Card at the quarterback spot for this Texas team. And for Oklahoma, it's been a little bit out of sync here and a little bit out of sync there. Some weeks the defense goes through spurts where they look good, get stops, and then spurts where they're giving up big plays, giving up yards, giving up points. And then same with the offense. Spencer Rattler in this offense, they've been up and down as well. Some drives, they look terrific. And then they go through, 4 or 5 straight drives where it's like 3-and-out punt and they barely get a first down. So they've had just an odd, bizarre season, both sides of the ball. They have not had consistency, Oklahoma, and it's definitely been an issue for them. So, look, Texas was a point spread covering machine in a lot of these head-to-head games in this rivalry against Oklahoma with Herman. And now they've got Sark there. Like what I'm seeing from Texas. Don't love the number. Small bet for me on Texas here, plus the points. Small bet on the over, too, because I think, look, Texas has cranked it up. Like, they're scoring points. The defense is still a little bit leaky for Texas as well. So that's why I think Oklahoma can maybe get their offense in gear a little bit. So lean Texas here, getting the home underdog price. And just to answer someone's question, Luke Doty is back. It's not Zeb Noland anymore for South Carolina. Luke Doty's back as the quarterback. So that's who you'll see today for for South Carolina against Tennessee. C-Mac, what do you think here? Oklahoma, Texas.
Over here. I think 5 out of the last 6 have all gone over. Even 2 years ago, 34-27. That get you over this, right around there. 48-45. They just score points. You talked about a boss like Texas Tech. I think there's more points in this one as well. This is smaller number for Oklahoma. Can they get it done? I still don't trust them. So I'm not going to lay it with Oklahoma. It would just be a pass. I'd either be on Texas or just stay away from the side.
Yeah, and the thing, too, is not only is this a lesser number for Oklahoma to be laying this year, in past Oklahoma-Texas games, we've seen Texas getting 6, 7, 7.5, sometimes even more than that, and they're only getting 3 here. So you can tell they've made an adjustment to Texas being really good of late, and Oklahoma kind of, scuffling, I guess you could say, and just doing enough to get by. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, everybody's always in love with Oklahoma when the season starts, this, that. They made some defensive adjustments, we know, over the last year or two, right? But their offense is still – they don't have Kyler Murray. They don't have Mayfield. They don't have whoever the other guy was. They don't have the dynamic take-off and run quarterback with Rattler. Rattler's not that guy. And it's kind of put a kink in their armor, so to speak, on the offensive side with a lot of inconsistencies. One thing we know with Texas, they can score, and they can score at will. And I went back and looked, when Oklahoma, when they played Kansas State put 31 up on them, right? Tulane put 35 up on them. What do you think Texas is going to do? Texas is going to score. The team total is 30.5. Give me Texas over 30.5 and sprinkle on the money line with Texas.
All right, there you go. Big Ragoo liking Texas. Boss, what do you like?
I like the over off top. Neighboring states, Texas. That's what they do over there. It says over. But if you look at this Oklahoma team, the defense is a little better than expected right here. They're holding teams under 100 yards rushing. They're not doing bad, holding in the passing area. And we pack a Texas team that likes to run a little bit, so they may cause some problems up in there, and that might give them a chance on defense. But all that leads to passing, though. So that means if they come in there and do stop the run, that's just going to make Texas pass even more. So Big Ragoo's team total and the over is the best I could do in this game.
All right, good stuff. All right, on we go now. Another noon Eastern kickoff next up here. Arkansas and Ole Miss. 2 teams that went into last week saying we can hang with Georgia, we can hang with Alabama, and neither one could do that. So bounce back time for one of these 2 teams here. Ole Miss 5.5-point home favorites in Oxford, 66.5 the total in this game. These are 2 bet on they were 2 bet on teams for me all season for the most part, including last week. I was on both of them, and they both got trampled, unfortunately, by Georgia for Arkansas, and then by Alabama for Ole Miss. So which team will bounce back here? Keep an eye on some injury situations, though, for Ole Miss. They're starting to mount here a little bit. Offensive line, Jerrion Ealy at running back, concussion protocol, questionable, may not play in this game for Ole Miss. So some injuries are starting to creep up a little for Ole Miss. So it's definitely concerning. There's no question about that. So something you want to keep an eye on here. As far as Arkansas is concerned, this team obviously, look, they ran into the Georgia blanket defense, and that's exactly what happened. Blanketed against Georgia last week by this for this Arkansas offense. But the Ole Miss defense, not quite what that Georgia defense is, and that's putting it mildly. So, I had the over circled for these 2 teams because I think Arkansas will be better offensively this week, much better. And I really liked Ole Miss offense to play better because I actually didn't like what I saw from Arkansas's defense. Like Stetson Bennett lit them up, and it's not like Stetson Bennett's an amazing quarterback by any stretch. But the problem is there's some offensive issues here for Ole Miss. The O-line a little bit banged up. Jerrion Ealy may not play, so it's taken a little bit of the the strength and the confidence I had in the over in this game. I still lean that way, but not as much with some of these injuries. Sidewise, I'm passing. I mean, I don't want to go against either of these teams. Both of them, I think, are looking to bounce back. Both of them are still very good quality SEC teams. So for me, just a lean to the over. Conor Mac, what do you think? Arkansas, Ole Miss.
Yeah, both teams are banged up. I don't want to lay it here with Ole Miss. I haven't bet this game. I lean Arkansas on the points. I think R in the chat. I think Arkansas is just a little bit more complete, have a little bit better defense that keeps them in this one. And I think this is a good one. I think it's close. So I'd rather grab the 5 than lay it here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, my numbers turn out to miss in this game, but my head tells me no. I know better part of the public and the sharper money's probably on Arkansas side, but the public and the tickets are on the Miss side. But a little uphill battle. I think it's going to be a little uphill battle on that number getting up there. But to be honest with you, I think Arkansas's defenses can slow them down a bit. But I worry about Arkansas's offense maybe being healthy. Just kind of to put more points up on the board here. I had a lean on Mississippi, but I'm off the game. This is one I'm going to crack a cold one and watch. That's a good noon start too, right? Yep. That's
a noon Eastern start. Yeah. I'll be the one of the games I watch because I want to see who parks last week's bat. Like they both got up for that game, right? Arkansas was fired up to play Georgia. They thought they were ready to go toe-to-toe. They weren't. Alabama thought they were ready, or Ole Miss thought they were ready to go toe-to-toe with Alabama. They weren't. And now who's going to put that behind them and play a good football game today? That's why it's a fascinating one. And they're still very good teams. They're still going to have pretty good seasons, I'm sure. So it's a very good game, a fascinating one. What do you like here, boss?
I want to like watching this game right here. This is two teams that I love. I like the way that Ole Miss has plays really good defense. They came with a speed approach to the game, and then I like what Arkansas is doing as well. They're playing very good defense, and they're going really heavy with their running game. But it does look on paper like this game could go over. The number is very high, but I think it's going to be one of those where the two teams they're a little too scrappy for each other, and the game is slowed down a lot. So I think this is a big time under. This one might fall under by like at least 10, 15 points.
Yeah, definitely. It's a high number. It is. I mean, and you're right. The injuries are keeping me really away from the over. I would have liked it a lot more if I knew these teams were healthy, especially the Ole Miss side. Offensively, O-lineman, key receiver out. Ely, the running back, may not play. So it's a lot of personnel issues for Ole Miss going into this game here this afternoon. All right, next game on the slate as we move along, we've got Old Dominion and Marshall. Marshall 21-point home favorites, 62.5, 63 being the total in this game. Marshall, just a crazy, weird start to the year for them. 2-3. They've had some really good performances, and then they've had some just absolutely head-scratching losses. Like last week, against Middle Tennessee, 11-point favorite. They lose 34-28 in that game. Losing to App State, but they covered as underdogs. They have the huge lead against East Carolina, 11.5-point favorites. They blow it and they lose 42-38. So that's 3 straight losses in a row for this team. And other than a win against Navy, that's their only win and cover against an FBS team this year for Marshall. So I'm not rushing to lay 21 with them. Question is, can you trust Old Dominion? Against Liberty, they lost by 28. They got blown out by Wake. But the last 2 games, UTEP, they lose only by a touchdown. Buffalo, they lose by 1 and cover 35-34. Ricky Ronnie, tough, situation to be in. First year as head coach, but a guy that used to be at Central Florida for a little bit, believe it or not. He's now calling himself DJ Mac. Dariel Mac, we remember, is what he called himself at UCF. But he's played pretty well here at quarterback for Old Dominion lately. I think Old Dominion, at this number, I could only look Old Dominion, believe it or not, plus 21. Marshall's having issues. Marshall can score, though. I like Grant Wells. That up-tempo offense is good, and Old Dominion's defense is still very poor. So I do like the over as well in this game, 62.5. I think you're going to see points galore in this football game. So I like the over more, but at 21, I have a small bet on Old Dominion, too. It's just difficult right now to trust Marshall laying 3 touchdowns with what we've seen from them now in 3 straight games. Big Smooth, $20 dono. Thank you very much, Big Smooth. We appreciate that. Very kind of you, and it's because of people like you that we are doing this show and giving you this great content. We couldn't do it without the support, and we thank you very much for that. It means a lot. Conor Mac, what do you think here with Old Dominion Marshall?
Oh yeah, big smooth, $20 down. Appreciate it. I'm exactly with you. These I haven't bet it, but these were strong leans for me. I thought Old Dominion, talked about it last week, playing a lot better, and it came down to the wire. UTEP had scored that touchdown right at the end of the game. I think this is too many for this Marshall team that just gives up points. I think, and the over, that was on my other lean. I think there's points. Marshall's going to get theirs, and I think Old Dominion can score as well. Both, I haven't bet them, but those were both my sides here as well.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, thank God UTEP scored that late touchdown.
They covered, yeah.
My plays last week, but I'm with all about not all about. I'm totally agreeing with the Marshall, because Marshall was one of my best bets, and they were like a 10-point favorite. They got crushed. That was a shit show. They have been inconsistent. They have been scoring points at home though, which is but the inconsistencies are adding to. They're not, the numbers not adding up for me here, especially with the 21. And I don't trust Old Dominion to take the points against Marshall at home. So it's a dead pass for me.
All right, boss.
Oh, man, I'm fading OD. I told y'all I was fading OD this year, and here's a Marshall team. They're a little frustrated from some of the play they had to play, but they put up 30 points on the App State team. So I think this is a good spot for Marshall to let off some steam. I'm laying the wood. That's one of my official plays. Put me down for Marshall minus the 21.
All right. There you go. Minus 21. It's true. It's always the way it works. Team 3, you think 3 losses in a row, some of them bad losses as favorites. How can they lay 21
good team.
points?
This is a good team.
That's gambling experience by my man up there.
That's right. Sometimes, hey, if they're struggling, how can they be laying 3 touchdowns and they'll win by 28 or 31 today? It could happen. Old Dominion's still not very good. They're rough. So maybe Marshall. It's a step down in class, too. For the one thing about Marshall, they played App State. They played East Carolina. They played some decent teams the last few weeks. That ain't Old Dominion. So it could be a step down in class for them. We'll see. But boss liking the minus 21 here with Marshall. All right, we go to Virginia, Louisville. Louisville, 2.5-point home favorite, 69.5, 70. I'm at the point now where I'm passing. At the current numbers, I'm passing. I bet over 66 like on Monday or Tuesday. The total's like 70 now. I mean, that's a huge move. It's too much of a move to endorse it now. There should be points. I like both of these offenses. I don't trust either of these defenses. Malik Cunningham's played a lot better this year for Louisville. Brennan Armstrong's been good at quarterback for Virginia, but neither of these teams have been very reliable or sturdy on the defensive side of the football. So, again, I lean over at the current number, but, boy, that's just a lot of movement, and now it's gotten to the point where I think it's a little bit out of range. And keep in mind, both of these offenses are good. Both of these defenses are leaky, but neither team plays extremely fast. And that also concerns me now with where this total is, close to 70. So lean over, but, boy, the best of the number is gone, unfortunately. Connor, what do you think here, Virginia, Louisville?
Yeah, the total is up there. I don't know if it gets there. There will be points in this game. It just will get over. I like how Louisville's played a little bit lately. I was so low on them. Even last week, they lost to Wake by 3. I'd only be on Louisville. I'm thinking about laying the 2.5 for them here at home.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I'm with Connor. I think Cunningham's finally kind of stretching the offense out a little bit. I was kind of concerned early on with the way they were playing, and especially last year. After last year, I was like, man, this team's treading in the wrong direction. Second year, now they're third year. I think they got and the coach talked, like we talked early in the season. The coach was like to talk about leaving the school possibility, looking elsewhere. But I think they kind of got it together here. So it would have to be Louisville a pass for me, but I'm not on the game either way.
All right, boss.
Louisville, another one of those teams that the jury is still out on. Like we did see a little progression in some of the last games, but one of the stat blurs with this one is the pace of the offense. In some conferences, when the quarterback goes to pass and takes off as a run, they may count it as a pass or they may count it as a run. So this one, the numbers are kind of blurred right here. So I don't want to get involved right there. But I mean, I support what's going on in Louisville. I was high on them going into the season. They kind of let me down in some spots. So like I said, the jury's still out on them for me. So I'm going to pass on this one.
Yeah, toe-to-toe with Wake last week, and Wake had been playing pretty good. They also have the UCF win, which was, by the way, before Dylan Gabriel got injured. So that was a quality win for Louisville. I definitely, now that it's -2.5, I lean Louisville a little bit here, but I don't know. It feels weird to me because Virginia's taking the money. I'm like, how come Virginia's taking the money? So that's why it's just a lean to Louisville here for me in this one. All right, we've got a team that Big Ragoo frustratingly continues to follow these guys, Florida State and North Carolina, through good times and bad times, though. That's what a loyal fan does. North Carolina, 17.5-point home favorites here, 64 being the total in this game. Obviously, struggles continue here for this Florida State group. We'll see if how they fare here. Now, last week, we'll give them credit because finally found their way to a victory, 33-30 against Syracuse. Didn't cover, though. That's now 0-4. Against the spread for Florida State in their last 4 games. But definitely a positive sign forward for them with that 33-30 victory. Jordan Travis, solid game, 131 through the air, 2 touchdowns. But more than anything, he used his legs. 113 rushing yards for the quarterback for Florida State, Jordan Travis. They got the run game going a little bit, which was kind of surprising to me considering how good Syracuse can sometimes be defensively against the run. So positive news there, but going up against North Carolina, I worry about this defense against North Carolina's offense because North Carolina, when their offense is on, we saw them put 59 on the board against Virginia, 38 last week against Duke, and Florida State's defense has struggled pretty much all year. And I even North Carolina was worried after the Duke loss, the Georgia Tech loss, I should say, second loss of the year. How would they respond? And they put a hung one on Duke, 38-7. They just absolutely beat them down. And North Carolina, guys, I don't think they're going to look past Florida State because of what happened last year. Florida State with the 31-28 win, upset win over North Carolina as 13.5-point underdogs. I think North Carolina Sam Howell was there for that. A lot of these players were there for that. I think they remember that. I wouldn't want the Florida State side. I'm not rushing to lay 17.5, but I'd lean to North Carolina. I think if you like the Tar Heels, look maybe first half in this game. And the over certainly is of interest to me because, look, that's the strength of Florida State. If they're going to hang tough, it's going to be because they put up points. It's not going to be because they stop anybody because they haven't stopped anybody on defense all year. So I do like the over 64.5 a bit. And I lean North Carolina. I might get there in the first half with North Carolina. First half line is North Carolina -9.5, -10. I prefer that compared to the full game because I think North Carolina wants a little redemption after what happened against FSU last year. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, can they do it though? I just don't trust the North Carolina team. They're just so up and down. They look so good and they get their ass whipped. So there's no way I could lay it with North Carolina. Florida State's played a little bit better, not their defense. They're still giving up points, but they're moving the ball. And North Carolina, I don't think their defense is great. So if I were to take this one, I know a lot of people like North Carolina to easily cover this. I'd be on Florida State. Give me the Noles and the points. Ragoo's Noles there.
They are sketchy, to North Carolina in terms of this kind of price range. I agree with that. That's why this is not a strong opinion, but I just think with them getting back on form last week and the loss to Florida State, shame on them if they take this game for granted. They shouldn't after what Florida State did to them last year. Big Ragoo, how do you see this one?
I like your look on the North Carolina in the first half. I think that's where the value is, but I think it's juiced up a little bit too. I just looked at that. But North Carolina, the Tar Heels, they'll score. They've been averaging like 50 points better at home. And Sam Howell has been quiet. They haven't been getting a lot of recognition. He was all the hype, when Mac Brown came on. And he's an ex-FSU. Jimbo recruited him to go to FSU, and he turned his nose on FSU and went to North Carolina. So he's got a little grudgery with that. And plus, you said the revenge factor. So it's North Carolina pass. Sorry, FSU.
They have nothing. They should be apologizing to you, for what's going on there, not the other way around right now. Boss, what do you think here?
I think Big Ragoo gave up too soon. You can't overlook this Florida State team and I talked about it with Notre Dame at times. They're improving week in, week out. They played a Syracuse team that has really good defense, and they were able to put up points. And I'm not a fan of Wack Brown or Sam Hoare. So in this one right here, I think Florida State got a big shot, and this ACC play is ridiculous. One thing you got to understand about the ACC, these teams play each other in all the other sports, so nobody goes into the game thinking they're on this level, like Alabama, let's say, playing Southern Missouri, or nobody goes on two different levels right there. It's like any given Sunday, any given Saturday for them. So I think Florida State got a chance right here. They put up some points last week. They continue to show up and try, and this North Carolina team may be a lot overvalued. When they were put up to the test, they failed. So in this one right here, I like Florida State. Give me the points and sprinkle some on the money line. This might be an upset alert.
Salute to you.
Oh, wow. Look at that, boss. Bringing out upset alert for the 17.5-point underdog.
He just feels sorry for me.
Yeah.
hey, it's like when we going after the same lady, you got to know when to make the right move. And I'm telling you right now is to make the move. You sitting on the side, I'm going to get your girl.
All right, brother, go for it.
Yeah, he's gonna steal FSU away from you there, Big Ragoo. Look out.
Good luck, my brother.
I love it, though. I like the boldness. Yeah. And, North Carolina is still sketchy. I agree. They're shaky to trust sometimes, and we'll see how
what team they can come out, and I could see them kicking there. They're so up and down. No consistency with them.
Yeah, I mean, the Georgia – I can't get the Georgia –
Yeah, I can't – I know.
Brutal, 45-22. Where the hell did they just did not show up that day? We got UConn and UMass here. Look out, one of the best games going today. No doubt about that. I'm being facetious, of course. We've got UConn, 3-point road favorites, 57 the total. What do you do here? You take UConn or you take UMass? I think you pass. Although I will say UConn's covered 3 straight. But here's the thing. They were 34.5-point dogs against Army. They covered barely. 31.5-point dogs against Wyoming. And actually, they only lost by 2. And then 14.5-point dogs at Vandy. They lost by 2. So they are improving. And this Stephen Krzyzewski at quarterback for UConn, he's playing better and better, slowly but surely. Still sketchy. The good thing is they've got a ground game. Nathan Carter running the football for UConn. And when you look at these two teams in terms of their offenses, both of them really have to rely on – UMass is more on the pass. UConn's more on the run. And UMass is terrible run defense. 5.7 yards per rush, 242 yards per game allowed on the ground. And UConn is starting to run the football pretty good. They could run all over UMass, but – UConn's defense still isn't anything to write home about. You got 2 bottom-of-the-barrel teams. Will say this about UMass here. Even without Tyler Lytle, at quarterback, there's been some concerns. And I know the last couple of weeks they've been shut out. And Brady Olson, the quarterback, has had some struggles here. But look, he's played, he's played Toledo's defense last week. That's definitely, Coastal Carolina before that. I mean, you forgive UMass for not doing anything offensively against those 2 teams. This is a step down in class. This is a bottom-of-the-barrel UConn defense. I think they get some offense going. That's what I like in this game. Over. 2 bad teams, 2 bad defenses. Just have some fun. Get out there, move the ball, put up some points. That's the angle for me. Over 57 here, UConn and UMass. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Just pass. I think if I had to take it, I go with UConn. I think they could run it in UMass, and UMass has no offense like you talked about. Unless they might get some obviously playing against UConn, but it's UConn or pass for me if I were to bet this one.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, not much to say here, but only thing we could say when the coach walked out on this team, maybe the Bander brothers gelled in the locker room and said, you know what, we're just going to leave whatever we got on the field in every game we play. And they played pretty tough against Vanderbilt. They had a good game there, so a little up in class there. So maybe that class carries over to step down here a bit, but or on equal ground per se. But it'd be UConn or pass.
Yeah, and it will be Krzyzewski at quarterback because they've also been going with Tyler Fomachan. Well, Fomachan, I should say. That's how you pronounce it. Tyler Fomachan at quarterback, and he is definitely out with a lower body injury, it looks like today. So it will fall on the shoulders of and the arm of Stephen Krzyzewski today for UConn. And look, the guy that's the forgotten man is that Zergiotis kid. He was supposed to be the quarterback coming into the year, and he was so bad, that he's basically fallen off the cliff here, off the depth chart here for UConn. Boss, what do you like here?
Hey, my very complicated spreadsheet system database play says bum fight. Take the home team. I'll take UMass.
There you go. Exactly.
Keep it
I
simple.
mean, I understand UConn's covered a few, but now we're asking them to win, straight up.
Somebody's got to win today, right?
Somebody's got to win. Yeah.
Hey.
Wake Forest and Syracuse. We've got Wake 6-point road favorites, 58.5 the total in this one. I like the Cuse here at the Carrier Dome. They already beat a good Liberty team in this place. Wake Forest last week at home against Louisville, won by 3. They're going to be tested by Syracuse here. And it's a newly renovated Carrier Dome, so they're getting even bigger crowds because, we want to see the new, improved, renovated building here, Carrier Dome, where the Cuse plays both football and basketball. And you had a really loud, raucous environment that Friday night game against Liberty. If it's anything close to that this afternoon against Wake, that's good news. Garrett Schrader's not a great passing quarterback, but man, is he better than DeVito. I mean, he has at least given this offense some life, some hope. And now they're actually starting to play a little bit quicker again, Dino Babers, because he's got more confidence in the offense. The running back is outstanding for Syracuse. He's been a machine running the football. Wake's defense has improved, but going on the road, winning by almost a touchdown, I don't know. And Syracuse's defense is pretty damn good so far this year. I like Cuse here, +6, home dog. I think they get the job done and cover this number. I lean over, though, at 58.5. Wake's going to go blazing fast. They went over the total last week in their game. Syracuse cranked up the pace a little bit against Florida State last week. That game had 63. I think this game gets into the 60s. Syracuse is starting to play quicker again. Wake plays ultra fast. Good offense led by Sam Hartman, Christian Beal-Smith at running back, Jakari Roberson, one of the best receivers in the ACC for Wake. I think there's points in this game. So Syracuse and over for me. Conor Mac, what do you like?
Yeah, I have nothing on the total. It's already got kind of hit down at 58.5. Wake has been good, but I don't think they've beaten really anybody. I think it'll be tough to go there in the dome today and cover this number. I wanted 7. I didn't get it, but I'd still at 6. It's Syracuse here for me. Take the points.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I like your look on the over. I know Syracuse has started a little bit slower on the offensive side in the first half. They've been averaging like 17 points, but Wake has been averaging about 20 something. So you know what? I agree with you though. I think they get enough points here. For me, the first half look is on the over. Both teams scoring points. I think it's like 29 points. I'll take my shot with that.
Keep in mind, there was a time Syracuse totals were always high 60s or 70s. Back in the days when earlier in the Syracuse era with Babers, he was going extremely fast. He had better offenses early on, and then the O-line stunk last year, and he started to slow it down. And beginning of this year, the offense was rough again, and he slowed it down. Well, since Schrader's taken over the quarterback, the seconds per snap numbers, have gone down. They're snapping the ball quicker, and they're starting to get that pace back again. And that's because he's got more confidence and faith in the offense now with Schrader at quarterback compared to DeVito. And the O-line for Syracuse is still not great, but it's improving by the week, and I think he sees that as well. Boss, what do you think here, Wake and Cuse?
Hey, they still play on that turf that gives them a little speed, so that always calculates to a little more points. So I lean over on this one as well. Syracuse started out the season playing really good defense, and this could be just non-conference. Now we into this conference play right here. They meet a Wake team that they've seen year in and year out, and I think some points get on the board on both sides for sure. Maybe first half over would be the spot.
Yeah, definitely. That's what Big Ragoo liked. Yeah, first half over. All right, Ball State, Western Michigan. Western Michigan, 12.5 point home favorites, 57 the total in this game. Western Michigan, I like this team a lot. Caleb Ellaby, the quarterback, has been outstanding here for the Western Michigan Broncos. Throwing the football. They've run the football well. How about the defense, though, last couple of weeks? I mean, very good against Buffalo. Completely shut down San Jose State before that. So there is no doubt that Western Michigan has definitely improved on the defensive side of the football. How about Ball State last week? This team was just a mess. Terrible start to the year. And then they shocked the world last week against Army, 28-16, winning outright as double-digit underdogs. Do a pretty damn good job against that option attack of Army. And Drew Plitt and the passing game lit up Army pretty well in that game. 17-28, 233 through the air. Steele and Jones That combination running the football. And then the receiving core was great. Ja'Shawn Jackson, Justin Hall, Johannes Tyler, they all had combined over 200 receiving yards. So much needed for Ball State. Maybe that gets them going here. That's what kept me off Western. Laying double digits, not really something I like doing, especially in this conference. But Ball State got a big time, obviously, shot of confidence beating Army like that. Very good Army team. So maybe that carries over here. So for that reason, lean Ball State, but I like Western too much to go against them. So that's just a lean. I'm probably going to be off. What do you think, Connor?
Shout out to our guy, Sabino, for the $4.99 dono. Hey, my man, my game's later on.
Sabino. Appreciate
for
it,
my
Sabino.
best bet.
You.
Yeah, real quick. He wanted best bet. I don't have, mine's later on in the day, so at the end of the show. So no rush on mine, at least. This one, Ball State played well, beat Army, but that was an Army team that isn't very good against the pass, plit through it well. This one was interesting to me. Western Michigan's been so good this year, and now laying almost 2 touchdowns. I can't do it. It's a pass. I'd take the points with Ball State or just pass here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean on Ball State plus and maybe a lean to the over possibly.
All right, lean to Ball State in the over here. The total has gone up in this game. Boss, what do you think?
I lean under in this one. Both teams 1-4 to the under. Guess it's gonna be some defense out there played. I'm not well coerced in these two matchup or the history of this matchup, but the numbers say the under is a good spot.
All right, next up as we continue along, Middle Tennessee State Liberty. We've got Liberty 19.5-point home favorites, 58.5 the total in this game. Liberty, wow. All I got to say is wow last week. I mean, that was a good UAB defense they were going up against last week in that game. And we've seen Liberty's offense, even we thought coming into the year, they'd put up 30, 40 points against everybody. They haven't always done that this week. Syracuse and Troy, they kind of struggled at times, struggled in the whole first half against Syracuse to get going. But boy, they got going last week against a very good UAB defense, 36-12, 544 yards of offense for Liberty. Willis was great running it, throwing it. Just outstanding for this Liberty team against a very good defense. That's trouble for Middle Tennessee, I think. Middle Tennessee does not have much of a defense this year. They've given up 35 to Virginia Tech, 27 and over 400 yards to UTSA, 42 points to Charlotte. Even last week against Marshall, they gave up 28 points. Marshall kept driving the football, turning it over, making mistakes, missing kicks. That could have been more than 28 points allowed last week. I think they're going to give up some points to Liberty. But Middle Tennessee's found an offense since Chase Cunningham's taken over at the quarterback spot. Bailey Hockman transferred out from the NC State transfer. He left the program. People got concerned. How's this Cunningham kid going to do? He's been great. He's been really good. I mean, Charlotte, 39 points. Marshall, 34 points, leads them to an upset win as double-digit underdogs. They got a quarterback now, the Blue Raiders. Liberty's got a good defense, but I think Middle Tennessee can score a bit. I like this one over the total a little bit, 58.5 with the Blue Raiders and the Flames. Conor Mac, what do you think? MTSU, Liberty.
Yeah, I lean over it. This one's tough. Liberty's been so good to me in the last few years, but this might be a little too many. You talk Middle Tennessee State's been able to score. It's Liberty, though. I think they win this one. I just can't lay 3 touchdowns, my 19.5 here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I like to play a Willis the way he plays QB with this other kid coming in from Mid Tennessee State. I think we'll see points, but I might lean to the over here, but I'm not going to lay the 20 points with Liberty, even though the more recency look on Middle Tennessee is good. If you go back a couple games, not so good. So I got to sit back and watch this one.
All right, Boss, what do you like?
Not one that I want to get involved with, but I like what Liberty's been doing so far. Looking at them at a preseason look, it was coming. It was a time for this to happen, but not comfortable laying those kind of points. It's kind of trappy. I don't know where they get 19 and a half from. So that's kind of a little trappy number, something I don't want to play with. But we haven't heard Ian say Liberty
No,
on the show all year.
I retired
yet.
that one, Boss. That's played out,
man.
that one. Yeah.
Come on, Ian.
We don't want to hear that. All right, one more. Liberty.
There it is.
I got people telling me they don't want to hear that anymore whenever a Liberty game comes up. And I don't blame them. We hear that.
They're not
commercial
paying you,
a million
Ian, no more,
times.
right?
They're not. Yeah, exactly. Where's my royalties? Where's my royalties for doing it every single time we have a Liberty game? Yeah, exactly. Here's an interesting one. Hey, this is a DJ Big Boss special here coming up. Boise State and BYU. We've got BYU 6-point favorites here at home, 58 the total. And it's a big if, Jaron Hall is at quarterback for BYU, and he's questionable. He's going to be a game-time decision. I think they're going to be without Baylor Romney for sure, because he got injured last week in that Utah State game as well. And I think he is definitely out. So he cannot play in this game, Romney. So it's either going to be Jaron Hall or it's going to be that other kid, Conover, the third quarterback on the depth chart that finished that game against Utah State. But if it's Hall, who's obviously their number one guy, he's had a good year so far, I've got to look at BYU here -6 because I think Boise's a mess. Boise's an absolute mess right now. This program, Hank Bachmeier and the offense was supposed to be big time this year. He struggled with his accuracy. The offensive lines had some problems. They can't run the football consistently. I mean, it's been a bad way for this Boise offense. Boise's averaging 2.4 yards per carry, 82 rushing yards per game. That's pathetic. That's pathetic for Boise State.
They can't run it. Yeah,
you can't run
that's
it.
true.
This is one of those teams that we're used to seeing them just bowl over teams at the line of scrimmage with the run game. They're not doing that right now. They lose by 10 to Nevada last week at home. The Utah State win, I've said it a million times already, as fraudulent a 27-3 win as you'll see. Utah State went up and down the field and kept shooting themselves in the foot. They lost to Oklahoma State. They lost to UCF. The UTEP win, a lot of turnovers for UTEP. That's why that game was so lopsided. I mean, even the 2 wins they've had, they're not as impressive as the final score would indicate. And then, so if Jaron Hall plays, all BYU does is keep finding a way to get the job done. I mean, terrific start. And they've got some good wins on their schedule already. Utah, Arizona State, a road win and cover with down to their third quarterback. And on the road at Utah State last week, they still won by 2 touchdowns and covered the number and outgained Utah State by +130, whereas Boise State was outgained by Utah State by 8. So look at the difference. Boise playing Utah State compared to BYU playing Utah State. Yeah, less than a touchdown, especially if Jaron Hall's a go. Give me BYU here, -6. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I passed on the game. Even no Hall. If there's no Hall, I might take the points with Boise State. If there is, I'm totally off this game. But, yeah, the quarterback, we don't know if he's going to play. So I'm just off this one. I lean Boise. If there's no Hall, I think the points, I think it could be close.
Yeah, that changes the dynamic a little bit. Conover, laying a 6 with Conover. I'd probably still lean BYU, but I wouldn't like it as much.
I haven't figured Boise out much this year. So that's why I'm just going to probably stay off.
Yeah, definitely. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
We'll let DJ break down Boise, but from an outsider looking in, I see a lot more physical team in BYU, and I see more of a finesse team with Boise. And if you knock down Shakir for Boise, you can wrap up the W for BYU. But like Connor says, a question mark on quarterback play. So I'm going to sit back on the sidelines.
You know what I'm scared about with the O-line of Boise against the D-line of BYU? Boise's offensive line's given up 2.6 sacks per game. BYU's defense is getting 2.4 sacks per game. That's disaster. An offensive line in Boise giving up sacks, alarming rate. BYU's defense getting after it and getting sacks at the quarterback at an alarming rate. So, that's trouble for it. Bachmeier's going to be going in the ice bath maybe after this game today with some of the punishment he might take. What do you think here, boss? Boise, BYU?
Well, I think it's time to go to work. So I brought my vest because we got to go to work. But in this one right here, man, first off, this is a matchup, BYU, used to be in the same conference with Boise back in the day. So this is a real life matchup that goes down a lot right here. So big game. But in this one, I talk about it all the time in college sports. You can't really lean on those injuries like that because there's always a guy sitting on the side that's ready to do what he got to do. So I lean under in this game because they're probably going to rely on the run a lot. But Coach Kalani says that they've had to bring in those other quarterbacks before. They play well. He has confidence in all of them. But I mean, what coach wouldn't say that? But at the same time, he has also been quoted saying that even though they going into this game, they got to keep their foot on the gas, and those are words that he said. So keeping their foot on the gas, like I said, I'm already been winning taking BYU, knowing that they're trying to find a home in the new conference alignment, and that's a big thing to them right now. That involves money and all kinds of other stuff that goes along with that. And him saying that he still want to put the foot on the gas, that means he got a job that got to be done. He's playing a beat up. If you want to talk about injury, Boise State's beat up over there, especially on the defensive side. They down to like their last 4th, 5th string nose tackle, over there. So they're beat up on defense. Andy Avalos, he's a defensive guy. So, his main baby not really working like it should. And he's struggling on offense as well. And Brockmeyer may be a little bit overrated, or maybe just the workload is just a little too much because they can't run the ball as well. So a lot of bleeding going on in Boise, but I do expect them to, show up to try to play a tough game. But in this one right here, I think BYU gets the best of them late, and I'm taking BYU minus the points, and I lean under.
Yeah, the chat's basically thinking the same way I am. I think it's just in the trenches. BYU's better right now. Simple as that. And we might see that again today. Sabino, none of my best bets for today are early. I don't know how DJ, Big Boss, Big Ragoo, and Connor feel, but a lot of my stronger plays are later. But I'll give you a noon best bet if I had to. It would be Oklahoma, Texas over 65, which is the current number.
I like the team total over. That's 30.5 Texas.
And I don't love it. I don't even love that play. But if he's asking for a noon game specifically, that's still the strongest noon game I've got. Is that one? Oklahoma, Texas over. So there you go. If you had to give an early best bet, DJ, Big Boss, for a noon game,
I'm gonna say that under in that Arkansas Ole Miss game.
There you go.
I think that number's way up there. That'd be my best choice early.
All right, Big Ragoo. There's like early best bets before we get to the later part, the official best bet.
Yeah, team total Texas over 30.5.
There you go. Conor Mac, if you had to make a noon Eastern kickoff best bet.
I don't have one. So
nope, there you go. That's good. That's fair. Hey. Nothing wrong with saying that. There you go. You got 3 out of 4, Sabino.
3 out of 4.
Not 2 out of 3 ain't bad, like Meatloaf said. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
3 out of 4 is pretty damn good.
There you go. Yeah, because it's actually a lesser number of early games today. So there you go. All right, we move on now. We've got next game. Oh, it's another DJ Big Boss special. It's a DJ Big Boss classic because we're staying in the Mountain West here. San Jose State, Colorado State. Colorado State 3-point home favorites, 44.5 the total. It is amazing to me. My mind's blown. My mind's about to blow up when I think of this game because I haven't talked to anybody this week that likes San Jose State in their current situation in this game. Everybody, Colorado State's turned it around. They're off a bye week, Colorado State here. All of it. And San Jose State's got injuries, and I can't deny any of that. But at where this line is right now, this line would have been outrageous before the season started, that Colorado State would be favored over San Jose State. I get it. They are dealing with some significant injuries. Nick Starkel didn't play last week. Nick Nash, who's more of a running quarterback, he's not very good throwing the football, but he had to play last week against New Mexico State. And we saw San Jose State, barely survive 37-31 in that game. And still they were able to put up points. But what was shocking to me was the fact they allowed 386 yards and 300 passing to New Mexico State. What happened to this great Brent Brennan San Jose State defense last week? It just completely fell down, and they barely won that game. They're now 0-4 against the spread this year. They haven't covered a point spread yet this year, this San Jose State team. So they've kind of disappointed, for a team, Mountain West champs last year, kind of not played as well this year. And yes, Colorado State, kind of, more than kind of.
They have.
But look at the schedule too, Connor, right? At Hawaii, then all the way over to the Western Michigan. That was a brutal road spot and a travel spot. We said that when it happened. Then back all the way home to New Mexico State. they've had some road weary schedule, and now they're going to Colorado here. So it's been a brutal schedule for San Jose in terms of all this travel that they've had to do. And I think it's caught up to them a little bit. Now, Colorado State, okay, since the loss to Vandy, which was a bad one, they beat Toledo 22-6, very impressive, winning outright there. And against Iowa, they hung in there and only lost 24-14 prior to their bye against an excellent Iowa team. So off the bye, I get it. Much better spot for Colorado State, but I still am not going to lay 3 with this group. With this coach, Steve Adazio, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, there's issues with San. And I don't think Starkel's playing again today. Doubtful last I checked. So that does hurt. But I'm not on this bandwagon with Colorado State today. A lot of people like them. I don't. And in fact, if this number, stays at 3, I'm probably going to take a little small piece of San Jose State. I just think, wow, what a change in perspective, on these two teams just based off a couple weeks that Colorado State's favored here. So I would only look dog San Jose State at this point. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
San Jose State might not be able to score, but their defense is kept it low scoring, and Colorado State's under. Even at 44.5, this is an under for me.
No. Yeah, I'm still not a big fan of the Colorado State offense. I mean, they've been better lately. I don't take that away from them, but still, this is not a lighted-up offense for Colorado State with Todd Centeio, who Steve Adazio brought with him to Colorado State from the Temple days. So, yeah, it probably is lower scoring. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I agree with the lower scoring side here. I don't think these two teams played much, do they, DJ? I think going back, it's like there's only like 4 games in the past, like X amount of years, a long time since they played each other. Not a big history here, obviously, but they did give San Jose State. They did beat South Utah early in the season with a 25-point favorite. That was an FCS BS game, though. But travel spot's not too good, like you said. Colorado coming off the 2 games, quality cover games against Toledo and Iowa, but I don't know. I can't get to the window either way with either team here. So I don't trust either one of them.
Yeah, definitely. They're conference foes, but you're right. They haven't played since 2018.
They played like 3 times since like 92 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. DJ Big Boss, here it is, Mountain West. You're right up your alley here. What do you think?
I took a pass on this game right here. Something's going on at San Jose State. It's a bunch of super seniors over there. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they could have a drug problem. They could be like, once you're too comfortable, anything can happen with those kids. But I think, the coach spoke on not preparing for travel. He said he didn't even speak of the travel to Hawaii and how that would affect them. So this is not that much of a travel. They've had a week to try to get things together to go over there. So I think they can compete. But this Colorado State team, they're kind of tricky. I mean, they had one impressive win. Are we supposed to just take that and run with them? They've been doing everything wrong, so far. So I'm still kind of bitter about Colorado State, to tell you the truth. But San Jose State is one of my favorites. I like the way Brent Brennan coaches, but not being prepared for travel and stuff like that. Like, I thought he was going to be up for another coaching job somewhere else, but I'm not sure. That's like kind of some basic managing the team type stuff if you can't go play on the road. So the quarterback thing doesn't really bother me, though. I think that somebody gets in there and they decide on what to do. But I would go contrarian on the total and go with the over, because Colorado State likes to score. And the defense got holes in it. San Jose State defense is not as tough as we thought it was going to be, and we get a low number with this one, so I think that one could go over.
All right, there, maybe leaning over the low total. All right, SMU Navy. We've got SMU 13.5-point road favorites, 56 the total in this game. Man, impressive stuff from SMU, undefeated, 5-0 this season. And wins against, especially the last couple weeks. Well, last week, South Florida, that's not a great win, but still 41-17, took care of business, beat TCU outright on the road, 42-34. This Tanner Mordecai-led offense for SMU looks outstanding. He's been good at quarterback. They've run the football well, good balance. They're putting up big-time points, 56, 35, 39, 42, 41. Big points for this SMU team. I think they score a bunch of points here. On the other side, Navy, look out. their offense had been kind of up and down, erratic early in the year, but they changed quarterbacks last week, Coach Ken. Ty Lavatai taking over at the quarterback spot for Navy last week for the first time, and a totally different offense. They look great. Upsetting Central Florida as 14.5-point underdogs, 34-30 in that game. It was the best offensive game of the year with that new quarterback, Lavatai, under center. I think they carry that over here. SMU's defense is still susceptible, and I think you're going to see
against
that
the run.
Against the run. Yes, they are. 131 yards per game on the ground allowed for SMU. Over 4 yards per carry. That's not good. I'm shocked this total is stuck in the 50s where it is. This is an over all the way. Look at the series history too, guys. SMU Navy. I mean, 56 is the total here. I love the over. It's one of my strongest bets of the day in college football. You look at recent history, 75-31, 43-40, 31-30, 35-28, 51-37 last year. I mean, the average points is like in the 70s with these teams, and yet we get a total 56. Navy's a better offense, I think, with this quarterback change. SMU will put up theirs as well. I like over 56 here with SMU and Navy. I lean to the points, though, with Navy as well. I mean, I'm never really loving SMU when you're talking laying 2 touchdowns on the road. And if Navy's found an offense with Lavatai at quarterback, they might be a team that's got some point spread value now, Navy, with this improved offense. So I'd lean to the midshipmen here as well. C-Mac, what do you think, SMU Navy?
Yeah, the quarterback changed the way they played the last few weeks. Even that 8-point loss to Houston, they were in that game. I got to take the points as well with Navy, and I'm on the over here too. Navy, one thing, they know they're going to run it, and that eats the clock. But SMU, we talked about how bad their defense is. So SMU scores it, so does Navy. It goes over. And, yeah, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm probably going to bet Navy in the points.
Yeah, and by the way, they were ripping off big chunks on the ground, Navy, last week, and that makes up for for the fact that they're a slow pace if they're going to get those big chunk plays running the football. And SMU plays extremely fast, big quick strike, big play offense. So definitely, I think it can make up for the lack of pace from Navy. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I was waiting to hear your breakdown because when I seen that total, I was like, man, that can't be right. But then I'm thinking, well, if anybody knows SMU, it's Ian. I know Ian loves that team and likes to make money on their overs with the squad here. But, yeah, that was my first initial thought, was definitely looking towards the over in that SMU game. And like Conor says, they definitely picked up pieces, after those 2 tough starts with Marshall and Air Force, and come back and play tough with Houston. Now, the UCF game, I wouldn't look into that too much, but they did get some nice quarterback play. They did a change of pace, but UCF has got some issues, which I'll touch on when we get down the road. But my look here would be lean towards the over for sure.
All right, boss, what do you like here?
I lean with the over on that one, but I'm heavy on SMU this year. I like what they got going on over there. But those armed forces teams, they kind of throw me off sometimes. So this is not one I want to mess around with.
All right, no, definitely, it should be a good one there. We'll see. By the way, you're right, Big Ragoo. I was on the over with them against TCU and Louisiana Tech for this SMU team. So I have cashed a couple of these SMU overs already. We'll see if we can do it again today. Georgia, Auburn. Georgia 15-point road favorites, 46.5 the total. Now, this is Auburn at home. This is Bo Nix at home. He plays better usually at home, but this is Georgia's defense on the other side. I am not ready to trust Auburn's offense to work here in this game, even at home. This Georgia defense is just ridiculous. It's unbelievable how they're playing. They're getting after the quarterback. They're stopping the run. Nobody can run against them. Arkansas is a good team that's been able to run the football, and they completely shut that down last week. Nothing out of that Arkansas run game. Georgia, I'm not stepping in front of them. I'm just not doing it. I'm not saying I'm rushing to lay 15 on the road with them, but there's no way I'm going against Georgia. This is a pass for me. Conor Mac, what do you think?
I'm going to take them first half, Georgia. I know Auburn's at home here. I just don't trust Bo Nix, and I'm on the under as well. I don't know how Auburn moves the ball much. I just smell, I don't know, 34-7 all over it here, something like that. I think Georgia's that good. I've been impressed by them so far this year.
By the way, JT Daniels questionable, which means it might be Stetson Bennett.
I think that's better. Instead of a hobbled Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He's been solid. He's been better than he was last year. Much better so far. A big Ragoo. What do you think, Georgia Auburn?
I mean, come on, 5 points a game on average. I mean, if you do overall average, but I got lucky to get that team total of South Carolina when it was over 7.5 that week. But man, what can you say about Georgia? I mean, best team in the country right now, without a question. I don't care what everybody says about Bama. Georgia's a better team at this point in time. So I'm not stepping in front of them, but I may be interested in looking at a team total play on Auburn, maybe possibly. They might get a couple points better than what the line says here, but it'd have to be an under type of play or maybe a team total play. Even though, like I said, I'm not stepping in front of Georgia, I might try to get cute and look at the Auburn team total. I'll look at that after.
All right, there you go. All right, boss, what do you like here?
I'm like Georgia, first half as well. They just another caliber type team this year. Not a lot of teams are going to be able to compete with them. Waiting to see them lining it up against Alabama someday. But I wouldn't say Bo Nix is doing bad, though. Bo Nix has been doing a lot better under Harsin. So I think that Auburn might be able to score some points somewhere, somehow. Harsin brings to the conference, a little unsteadiness because they're not really used to how he does things. So he has a slight advantage with that one, but he's just totally outclassed. He's going to learn his lesson. He's going to learn his lesson around here today.
No doubt about that. And this is the CBS game. This is going to be Gary Danielson and Nestler, CBS SEC. So that's the CBS SEC game this week. All right, Florida Atlantic, UAB. UAB 3.5-point home favorites, 49 the total in this one. A lot of money coming in on Florida Atlantic. This has that look to me of we bet what we saw last from the betting markets. Florida Atlantic pounded FIU 58-21 last week. What happened with UAB? They lost 36-12 to Liberty. And people are saying, wow, Florida Atlantic looked great last week. UAB looked terrible. Let's bet Florida Atlantic here. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. I still think UAB can bounce back here. I know they're down to the backup quarterback, and he's been sketchy, because Tyler Johnston's been injured. The backup quarterback, Dylan Hopkins. But still, his numbers are decent. 63% completion, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Struggled last week against a very good Liberty defense, but that's not the same defense that Florida Atlantic has. Florida Atlantic can give up some points. They've been up and down. I think 3.5 at home with UAB. It seems a little bit cheap, seems a little bit undervalued. So I'd lean to the Blazers here, UAB minus 3.5. And thank you, by the way, $20 dono. Don't ask, don't tail. Thank you very much, my friend. We appreciate that. You supporting and for the dono, much appreciated. Conor Mac, what do you think here, Florida Atlantic and UAB?
Yeah, you had to kick the kids off Saturday morning cartoons to get us on the big screen. Appreciate it.
That's what you got to do. That's the sacrifices you got to make. We appreciate it.
The hell with them kids, man. I love them to death, but I don't like them at all.
SpongeBob or whatever the hell these kids watch today.
In this one, I think UAB, this is a good one. I think this is an under. I lean under here. I think UAB plays well. FAU can score, against lower competition. I just see under here. I have the under.
All right. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
I think UAB is going to outmatch him on the defensive side. It's a bad matchup for Perry with the offensive line. UAB. I think I'm not big on bounce back spots. Okay, especially going on the road. But I think UAB probably gets to the number here. I think this is an anomaly type game for them that they had last week. So I think UAB gets back on track here. Even though I'm not a big bounce back spot guy, I think in this spot it's a good spot for them to get to the number.
Yeah, when it comes to me, Big Ragoo, with bounce back spots, I want a decent or good team and a good coach. If it's a bad team, they're not going to bounce back because they're bad. But UAB, I look at their schedule. They lost to Georgia 56-7 in September. How did they respond the next week? They went to North Texas. They won 40-6. They absolutely dominated. So they've shown that ability. Bad game, we can put it behind us and be better, and I think they will today. What do you think, boss?
It'll be UAB or nothing for me. I'm not a big FAU fan, and UAB has got some stuff going on over there that's been working for them. So I'm going to stick with the train that's been working on this one if I had to take a play. But I'm off this game though.
And keep in mind, Florida International, the team that Florida Atlantic whooped last week, they looked brutal last night against Charlotte. Terrible for Florida International. So I think people are going a little too crazy. Just, wow, look at Florida Atlantic. Got to bet them today. Well, look, FIU looks pretty rough right now. No question. All right, we move on now. Next game, it is Wisconsin and Illinois, Big Ten. Wisconsin, 12-point road favorites, 42 the total. All the money coming in on Wisconsin, man. I mean, not a single. It seems like Illinois, nobody liking them here but me in this game. Look, I get it with Illinois. They are sketchy to trust. They've also got some issues in terms of injuries as well mounting for this team that concern you. I think their O-line's banged up a little bit, if I'm not mistaken here. So there's issues. And when you look at it, it's Harrison Whaley at running back as well, questionable. That concerns you just a little bit for this Illinois team. When you look at it, Colt, there's a couple others as well that you worry about. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes here for them. But on the flip side here, I don't know how you lay 12 with this Wisconsin offense right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely in shambles. And a Wisconsin team, guys, they've lost to Michigan, they've lost to Notre Dame, they've lost to Penn State. They've 3 losses on their schedule already for a team that had aspirations of winning the Big Ten, and doing some big things this year, at least get to maybe a New Year's Six bowl game. They can't do any of those things now, probably because of these losses. And I'm not laying 12 points with Graham Mertz, with Wolf, or any quarterback that's going to be under center today for Wisconsin. Now, I know Illinois is a rebuilding program under Bielema. They barely beat Charlotte at home last week, but we've seen this team in the underdog role. Nebraska, home underdogs, 6.5, win outright. Maryland, home underdogs, lose by 3. Purdue, road underdogs, 10 points, lose by 4. They've been terrific in the underdog role outside of the loss against Virginia, where they got blown out. Other than that, they've covered every other time as a underdog. 2-0 ATS this year as a home underdog. So for me, it might be an ugly dog because Illinois I worry about that offense against Wisconsin's defense because Wisconsin still has a very good defense. But
yeah,
I still like Illinois here plus 12, and not because I just worry about where the headspace and the psyche is of this Wisconsin team right now. I mean, they've got to be a little bit spiritually crushed with the way things have gone this season. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, I wanted to look it up. Illinois has played Wisconsin pretty good in the last few years, too. I think they've outright beat them. I got to take the points, too. Ugly dog and lean under. I don't know how there are many points scored in this one. This could be a 13-9 like that Purdue game.
Yeah, that's definitely – I like the under, too. I absolutely agree with that. No question about that. So it'll be interesting. Brandon Peters struggled a little bit. There's talk they might turn to Sitkowski to start today, but it hasn't been confirmed. But they're interchangeable, Peters and Sitkowski. If they're going to win, it's because they shut down Wisconsin's offense. Or if they cover, it's because they shut down Wisconsin's offense like pretty much every other team has this year. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, there's a one-way play for me, my friends. Underneath. The only worry I have, not really worried because with the under, I don't think Illinois is going to put up a bunch of points. I think they might keep it close. They can get within the margin, and that bodes well for the under also. But and Wisconsin's had their offensive struggles all year with Mertz, so it's a home team and an under for me. Home team under all the way. All
right, boss, what do you like here?
Hey, taking the points and taking the under sounds really good. In this one right here, Wisconsin, they already played to the under. Bielema, first year coach in the conference right here, he's going to have a little bit to offer. He's a pro guy, and Wisconsin runs a pro set. So that all plays in the favor of the under. Everything slowed down a little bit, So I think that the under is a good look right here, but I definitely like Bielema, first year with the surprise. Wisconsin's just a team that is going to continue to do what they do, the way they do it, and how they do it. So this guy's offering a little something different. He's either going to learn his lesson about Wisconsin this year, and I'll be looking for him, see how he adjusts next year, or he's going to come to the game, offer something new that Wisconsin wasn't ready for. They can't adapt, and he's going to give them a big challenge. So give me the points, and I'll definitely back the under.
All right, Illinois and under. Good stuff. Miami, Ohio, Eastern Michigan. Miami, 1.5, 2-point road favorites, 58 the total. Well, I got burned backing Eastern Michigan as a slight dog last week, so I'm a little bit gun shy this week, but I lean again to Eastern Michigan a little bit. Ben Bryant didn't have a great game, but I think he's been solid for the most part, capable of bouncing back. Miami, decent start to the year for them. Gabbert, of course, their quarterback, Brett Gabbert, but they've struggled on the road so far. 0-3 straight up, 1-2 against the spread. I'm leaning here to Eastern. I know Eastern did me wrong last week against Northern Illinois, but I lean here to the Eagles one more time as a slight home underdog. Big Ragoo, anything here?
Not really, but I would lean Eastern Michigan's way, with Miami O's road struggle. So I take the plus points.
All right, boss, anything?
No, this is a pass for me. I went in with EMU with you last week, and I cut the bad end of that one, so I'm gonna stay off. I'm gonna let y'all do that.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a little bit worried, but I've watched them. I know for a fact if I don't bet them today, they'll probably win. So that's why I'm still going to bet them, and then they'll lose. That's the way it works. Sometimes with some teams, that's the way it goes. Central Michigan, Ohio. Central Michigan 5-point road favorites, 57.5 the total. We have seen some signs of life and improvement from Ohio. It's not saying much, but look, Central Michigan's been a bit of a disappointment too. I mean, losing to Miami 28-17 last week. That's a concern. What's also a concern is quarterback injuries for Central Michigan. Jacob Sermon, Daniel Richardson, both of them banged up. They both played last week, and both of them banged up going into this game. So who's going to be available for Jim McElwain at quarterback? Big question mark going into this game. Ohio gets off the schneid, but they beat a terrible Akron team. I don't know. We'll see if they can play better against Central, but Central's gone 0-3 against the spread, as favorites this year. Just the one time against an FBS team, they were favored at Miami and they lost outright. So it's pick your poison. Do you trust Ohio, a really bad team, at all? Or do you trust Central Michigan to lay points on the road, and they haven't been anything to write home about? I'd lean to the Chippewas, but quarterback concerns who's going to be in there, so I'll probably stay off it. Big Ragoo, Central Michigan, Ohio.
Yeah, no action here for me. A pass, not even lean. I pass totally on the game.
Boss?
I would lean Ohio in this one. The two teams are not that far off, although Central Michigan plays a little better offense. But they 2-3, they 1-4. If some went the other way for Ohio, they'll be both 2-3. So it's no big deal in this game. Kind of bum fight-ish right here though, but I'm off.
All right, we go to the next one here. Next game, Oregon State, Washington State, Pac-12. Oregon State 3.5, 4-point road favorites in the Palouse. 59 the total. I like Oregon State. I've been riding this team a bunch, and I think I'm going to back them again today. Even laying points on the road, I think they can get the job done here. I've got this team better than Washington State right now. Nolan, the quarterback, Chance Nolan, has really given them a spark offensively since he's taken over at the quarterback spot. I like what I've seen from him. I know Tristan Gebbia has been injured, but to me, Chance Nolan should keep the job. He's been good. The running game's been outstanding. They're running the ball well, Oregon State. B.J. Baylor, Deshaun Fenwick, they have been definitely running the ball. Chance Nolan's got a little bit of mobility at quarterback as well. Beat Washington at home 27-24. I mean, 27 points against Washington's defense. That's pretty good. Washington's offense isn't good, but their defense is. They move the ball very well, especially on the ground against Washington. I think that bodes well for success here against Washington State. They did have a nice win against Cal last week on the road, 21-6. But Cal is very flighty, very up and down. Let's not forget before that, Washington State, they lose outright to Utah State in their first game. They get blown out by USC. They lose by double digits to Utah. I think this is an Oregon State team that's really improving, and Jonathan Smith's done a good job. I think they can win this game by enough of a margin here. Oregon State for me, -3.5, -4. We got Conor Mac with us again. Conor, what do you think here? Oregon State, Washington State.
I'm going to pass. I lean the over. Oregon State's just been a machine. Money for me, over. And I've been taking them all year. I lean them, but this is different. Now, on the road, this is a tricky spot for them to go, watch out here. Washington State, I beat Cal. They lost to Utah and Southern Cal. But I'd watch out with this one. I love Oregon State too, but I'm not going to take them today.
Big Ragoo.
I think Oregon State's going to be able to run the ball effectively against Washington State. And I think it's going to chew some clock up. And I think this game stays in the high 40s, low 50s. So I would lean towards the under here.
All right, lean towards the under in this one. Boss, what do you think?
When I do my little weekly roundup of teams that are in top spots, this Oregon State team keeps ringing the bell. So I haven't really got a chance to watch them play, and that's a big thing for me. With 6 weeks in the season, I don't think I want to be betting on too many teams that I haven't seen play with my own eyes. But the Oregon State team looks really good on paper. I would either back Oregon State or nothing.
All right, Oregon State or nothing here for DJ Big Boss. All right, we roll on down the card here. Next up, we've got North Texas and Missouri here. We've got Missouri 18.5-point home favorites, 68.5, 69 the total. They did fire the defensive line coach, but that being said, it's almost impossible, at least for me, to look at anything in a Missouri game except the over. I mean, we know what this team is. They've got a good enough offense with Connor Bazelak at quarterback. Their offense is good enough, and they should roll here offensively against North Texas's defense. This is a huge step down in class for Missouri's offense against this defense. But on the flip side, I know North Texas on offense, Austin Auni's going to start at quarterback here in this game. They've been up and down offensively, but Missouri's defense is just hideous that you got to think even North Texas could find their way to the end zone a couple of times at least. So I definitely would only look over the total when it comes to a Missouri game, and I still feel that way. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Pass for me here. I don't want Missouri laying this number. North Texas hasn't looked good all year. They played better against La Tech, 24-17 last week. I'd only grab the points. If I had to take a free bet here, I'd take the points. That total's high. I'd pass on the total. Yeah.
Big. What do you like, Big Ragoo?
Big number there, Ian. I mean, I agree with you on the Missouri overs, but we talk about North Texas here to clock 70 points in 60 minutes of football. I mean, I would think Missouri would probably come away with the win without a doubt. But I mean, I don't see that total. I mean, I can see it happening, but man, I can't get to the window with that one.
I think situationally, all these, SEC games, they've had to play a couple tougher games, and now you're going on at home here against a North Texas team. It feels like we can romp and win this game big for Missouri. I was tempted to lay the 18.5, but I didn't. It's just I'm so worried about that defense. I did, but I lean Missouri a little bit here. What do you think?
I would lean Missouri, not to the over for sure.
I totally pass on this. This is not where I want to be at 1:00 today. Looking out for this game right here. It's a pass.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to trust either team, but like I say, I want to see some improvement first from this Missouri defense, which is just been hideous. From a hideous defense to two outstanding defenses in one of the games of the day. Big Ten action, Penn State, Iowa. We've got Iowa 2.5-point home favorites, 41 the total. I said this on the Monday show. I understand people don't like the offense for Iowa. It's a little sketchy. If they can't run the ball with Tyler Goodson, is Spencer Petras good enough? I understand that. But I'm looking at this as people are saying Iowa's getting out-yarded, out-statted, losing the box score. I get all of that. But all they do is they force turnovers, they're ball hawking, they force teams into mistakes, and now we've seen this multiple weeks. I understand you're saying, they're getting lucky for one game with turnovers. They're getting lucky with all these great plays they're making defensively and all the starting field position being so good. Well, maybe that's their team. That's their DNA, and they're just going to do this week in and week out. So I'm at less than a field goal at home in a rabid Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. At less than a field goal, there's no way I'm going against Iowa. And I was on Iowa last week against Maryland. Maryland took all the money. They were +5 underdog. They got all the way down to +3 home underdog, and Iowa rolled them. I'm not going against Iowa. Simple as that. Do I love them in this game? No, because I respect Penn State. Sean Clifford's playing a lot better at quarterback. They're running the ball. Their own defense is outstanding for James Franklin this year. I like the under. Definitely has that feel of 17-10, 20-10, 21-14, something like that. It is going to be a very, very low-scoring affair, I think. But at less than a field goal, no. I understand Penn State's very good. They can win this game, yes. But at less than a field goal with what I've seen from Iowa and this defense, I will not bet against Iowa in this price range. So it's Iowa or pass. It's just a small lean to Iowa. Maybe a small bet, but nothing strong. But only look Iowa for me at this number. Connor, what do you think here? Penn State, Iowa.
Yeah, it's a bet for me. I'm going to keep betting Iowa. I mean, they're at home, laying less than a field goal. Nothing at Penn State's look great. I mean, they shut out Indiana last week. This is just, the classic Big Ten dogfight. You mentioned the scores. Even at 41, I'd lean under. But less than a field goal here, I think Iowa gets it done. I think they have a little bit of a better defense. And they'll just run it down their throat. They'll make a few key plays, and I think they win this game.
It's tough. I mean, Spencer Petras, like last week, he had his best passing game of the year, 300 yards almost, which is
just a game manager. Yeah, he just needs to be good. Yeah, today.
Make no mistakes. And actually, for the most part, he hasn't made mistakes this year. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, all the classic components of the smash mouth, typical Big Ten, and then we're talking top 10 football matchup here, guys. Okay,
yeah.
So Iowa, outside of Georgia, I think Iowa's probably got the top 3 defense in the nation without question. And Penn State, they already got their big win against on the road, and they're terrible against top 10 teams normally. So, and Iowa's playing at home, less than a field goal. All the indicators are pointing Iowa's way. That kind of scares me in a way.
Yeah,
but, I know. It kind of put a little pause and go into the window. But everything I got on paper charts out to Iowa. So I'm getting to the window with Iowa. Win, lose, or draw. I'm on Iowa.
And by the way, with Iowa too, this line went to 1.5, and now it's gone back up to 2.5. So there's some late steam on Iowa, for what it's worth. Boss, what do you think here?
By rule on this one, I'm gonna pass because I only like taking Iowa when they get in points. I don't really like giving up too many points, even though they're not giving up a lot of points in this one. Just my edge is mostly with Iowa when they're receiving points playing big teams. This Penn State team, I talked about it early in the season, like they're scrappy and unpredictable, so they could play well on the road right here. But it's a pass for me.
All right, pass for DJ Big Boss. All right, East Carolina, Central Florida. 10-point home favorite, 65.5 the total in this game. I like the underdog here. I think they're very live, East Carolina. Their offense is rolling. They're running the ball with great effectiveness the last 3 weeks. Holton Ahlers at quarterback's been good. 3 straight wins for them, including Marshall and Tulane. Beat down of Tulane last week. This offense is rolling, and look, UCF without Dylan Gabriel, it was rough for them last week with the new freshman quarterback, and he might be good in time, but Mikey Keene isn't there yet. Mikey Keene just 16 of 26 last week through the air. It's going to be and the thing that bothers me too for Central Florida, not only how they lost outright as double-digit favorites to Navy last week, they played poorly on defense. They didn't stop Navy, and they've got a really rolling offense in East Carolina coming to town here to the bounce house. I think UCF might get bounced in this game. They might be getting bounced in their own house here today. We'll have to wait and see. But I think there's a tough game to win for them, let alone as 10-point favorites cover that kind of number. And keep in mind, UCF's got Cincinnati next week. So I don't want to say look ahead spot, but that is a huge game. I've seen some quotes from East Carolina, some of their seniors saying we've been kicked around by Central Florida in years past. We want to show up stronger and better this time around. So give me the Pirates here. Plus 10. I lean over the total as well. Conor Mac, what do you think? ECU, UCF?
Yeah, give me East Carolina and the points here. No Gabriel, different team, at quarterback. I can't lay 10 points here. I'm going to take some money line too, East Carolina, a little more than normal. I think they could win this outright. That offense is humming a bit. Total is high. I don't know if it gets there, but there'll be points today for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll get there because East Carolina defense is still a little shaky. I don't think they'll blank UCF at home, but I think they'll move the ball quite a bit. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, I was talking about that Georgia Tech or that Navy game. We talked about how they won. And I tell you, I'll break it down here a little bit. Yeah, Mikey Keene, like you said, freshman quarterback, getting on board with a first-year coach. And they're nicked up, running back, the defensive side of the ball, they're nicked up too. So they have a lot of issues right now at UCF. And I think the odds makers got this one dead wrong. I'm not gonna say there's no way because anything can happen, but it bodes well for the dog here taking the points and maybe a little bit of sprinkle. I mean, they might sneak out, but I definitely take the points here. And what's shocking to me is that their backup quarterback, in the depth chart, they got Joey Gatewood, who was a kid that got recruited by Auburn, and then he transferred to Kentucky, red shirt, and he moved the ball against Georgia. I mean, you got that, and he's a junior, so you got that kid in the wings. I would think they would have went with him in this tough spot here. But hey, I'm not the coach, so give me the visiting team plus the 10 points here.
Gus Malzahn had him at Auburn years ago. Maybe he knows he can't play. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I've seen you enough. You stink. You're not getting ready.
He get hurt. He had like 95 yards in the air against Georgia, and he ran for 25 yards. So
yeah. I know it's fascinating that he's back linked at the hip with Malzahn again, although in UCF now, not Auburn. Boss, what do you think here? ECU, UCF.
Both doing really well passing in this game. You're gonna see over about almost 70 passes in this one. UCF is averaging 275 yards passing, and ECU's right behind them with 276. And I like the way ECU throws the ball downfield. So I wish I could bet on yards alone in this one, but I bet the over in this one.
All right, yeah, over in this one for Boss. All right, Buffalo, Kent State. Kent State 6.5-point home favorite, 66 the total. The money's come in on Kent. I agree. I think Kent less than a touchdown. I'd lay it with them. Buffalo, I want to see. Their defense has been decent at times, but they're facing a really good offense. Dustin Crum. They go fast pace. Kent State. I think that's going to test Buffalo. And if Buffalo falls behind, Kyle Van Treese ain't the quarterback that's going to lead you back from a deficit. He's not that kind of passing quarterback. I think they get behind and they stay behind today. So I like Kent here, laying less than a touchdown, lean over as well. Conor Mac, Buffalo, Kent State.
Yeah, we talked about this one earlier in the week. I lean under. I think Buffalo's defense and that slow play running the ball with Van Treese, I think this can stay under. I can't take Buffalo. I wanted more than 6.5 here, so on the side to pass, but I will be taking the under.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Buffalo is one of those teams that every week on paper the numbers don't match up to what they put out on the field for some reason.
That's
and
true.
I think the ratings kind of are lagging with Buffalo here, so it's got to be Kent or pass for me. But I won't get to the window, and I do lean towards the under also because Buffalo is an under type team.
All right, good stuff. We move on. Georgia Tech and Duke. Georgia Tech 4.5-point road favorite, 60.5 the total. They've got this game in the 7 p.m. Eastern time slot, which is why we're doing it later, but they actually moved it to 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So be aware of that. This is actually kicking off in half an hour. I should have remembered that, or we would have done it earlier in the show this game. But nevertheless, we're doing it now. I like Georgia Tech bounce back. I know it was rough for them last week against Pitt, but they can run the football, I think, against Duke. Duke doesn't have a good run defense. They had 300 rushing yards against Duke last year when they beat them. Of course, Jeff Sims back at quarterback. Just one of those games. And look, Pitt's a good football team. People throwing Georgia Tech in the garbage after last week. Let's not forget, Pitt's a good football team. Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. And boy, did he light them up last week in that game. But I think Georgia Tech bounces back. Holmberg is still a quarterback for Duke that's kind of up and down, erratic. I think Georgia Tech at this number. And look, Georgia Tech's been one of those teams when they play a bad game, they usually play better the next time out. So I like Georgia Tech. I think the game goes over too because I think they'll put up points, and I think Duke can enough to get the game over the total. And Duke's playing really fast. All of a sudden, David Cutcliffe's team has gone up tempo again, and I think that's going to factor into this game going over 60.5 as well. Georgia Tech and Duke. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, Georgia Tech's drive me crazy this year. What football team's going to show up? Sims or whoever's at quarterback, just take care of the ball. Turn him. If he's clean, they easily win here. It's just more of a play against Duke than on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, yeah, minus the 4.5.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, my best bet last week went up in flames, but Pitt, like you said, they showed out on both sides, and Sims has got to just take care of the football and make plays. They look disoriented. They didn't look like they had it all together last week at all. It was ugly for them, but I think this is a good, like I say, not big on bounce backs, but I think it's more of a play against Duke, and I think Georgia Tech is still a quality football team.
Yeah, I think this is their spot for sure here to come back strong, play better. All right, Wyoming and Air Force, Mountain West. We've lost DJ for a minute, hopefully, because this is up his alley here. Mountain West action. Air Force 5.5-point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this one. Wyoming's been weird, right? I mean, they've had some really bizarre games. They almost lost in Northern Illinois, had a big lead, almost blew it. Barely beat UConn. They've had some weird results, some good performances, some rough performances. I think this is a week where Craig Bull can say, let's calm down, guys. We're still in a good spot with our record. Bye week, extra time to prepare for a good defensive-minded head coach against the triple option. Bye week for Wyoming coming into this game. I think that matters. I think they're live in this game against Air Force. Sean Chambers, you've got Xavier Halliday there, the running back. I think that definitely is a thing that can keep this Air Force team off the field with his ability to run the football, extend drives for Wyoming. So I think Wyoming here, off the bye, good defensive-minded coach, time to prepare for the triple option. I think they cover, and I think they challenge to win outright. So give me Wyoming here, +5, 5.5. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Rim most. Sharpie will have the baseball up. Either he didn't do it, or there's going to be right after this show. The baseball will be up. I can't figure out Wyoming. I want to lean them. We talked about it on Monday. I want more than a touchdown with Wyoming. Air Force just hasn't kind of beaten anybody. They beat Utah State by 4. They took care of Navy that early on, 23-3. Beat FAU, beat New Mexico. So I don't know how good they are. This one's I'd either be on Wyoming or pass.
Yeah, I mean, the Air Force has been really good so far. I don't deny that, but I like the way this sets up here for Craig Bowl and this Wyoming.
Yeah, okay, he did it last night, but usually he doesn't upload it until the morning. But
okay.
If he put it on last night,
posted already. Yeah,
sounds
that's right.
good. Yeah,
I remember
usually he
retweeting
posts
it.
in.
Yeah.
He does it he records it at night. Usually posts in the morning, but if he posted last night, good for him.
Yeah, it's posted already, the baseball stuff. I don't love the baseball card today, so I don't mind not talking about baseball today. I don't love the card. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
On the Wyoming game, yeah. All right, so like you say, ball off the bye here, okay? And ATS Air Force has been a little bit of dicey, and you're giving me an undefeated team on the road with rest going into Air Force. Give me the undefeated team plus the points.
All right, DJ Big Boss, Mountain West. This is your baby. What do you think?
Definitely one of my plays today right here. Probably best play in the Mountain West right here. I think the wrong team is favored in this one. You can't judge Wyoming by the out of conference play. Air Force is going to give you the same thing year in, out. You know, Craig Boyle's seen this team before. The travel's not a big issue. It's just too many plus signs that work in the favor of Wyoming. And on top of that, Wyoming, since they play a bunch of these MAC teams in the preseason, they've developed some scoring. Sean Chambers is throwing the ball again, and they're running and passing the ball evenly. They're doing about 180 in the air, 180 on the ground. So the offense is together over there. Not everybody, but most cappers know, like, you know, you always take the team with a week's rest before playing the option team. Option is not very hard to shut down. You know, everybody stick with their responsibility, and that's what Wyoming does over here. They play physical defense, run-stopping defense, as a matter of fact, and they also have a tight secondary. So I don't see how Air Force gets lucky this week throwing the ball like they usually do. I think there's a tight end over there at tight end Patterson, who's one of their targets over there that's questionable for the game for Air Force. So if they can't afford to lose any targets, but they're going to be going against this Wyoming team, and they're not going to be able to put the ball up in the air like they was. So
that's
I'm
Kyle
on
Patterson you're talking about. Yes, that would be a big loss.
I'm on this one right here. On both ways. I'm full unit on the money line and full unit plus the point.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier and Valladay, like I said, they can run the ball. Sean Chambers at quarterback, the bye week. And great point by Big Ragoo with Bull and Wyoming. A lot of times they'll have some ugly non-conference games, but they get into Mountain West play, and that's when you see the best of Wyoming. Kind of like Northwestern.
That travel spot to Connecticut, too. I mean, that was tough. You know, our way to Connecticut. I mean, who knows? And then plus they're playing a way inferior team, and they snuck out of there with the win, but they'll recover. They'll bounce back here.
TCU, Texas Tech, TCU 2.5-point road favorite, 60 the total. I got to lean Texas Tech here. I mean, TCU's just struggling to win games or find ways to win games. They've already lost to SMU. They could have lost to Cal. They lose last week to Texas. Now they got to go on the road, face Texas Tech. And look, I don't love the fact that I've got to back a backup quarterback and Henry Columby here for Texas Tech, but they won with him last week against a good defense in West Virginia, and he played pretty well. So I ain't laying any points with TCU. I think Gary Patterson's a coach that's losing his luster a little bit. I think he's losing his touch a little bit. TCU hasn't impressed me, and I'm certainly not laying points with them on the road. Texas Tech or nothing for me. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Texas Tech money line and over. Tech played better defense, but I think that was more West Virginia. You know, they're kind of their offense that game. So, yeah, Texas Tech money line and lean over here.
All right, good stuff. There. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, it's Texas Tech all the way for me here, guys. I think the wrong team's favored in this spot, to be honest with you.
I agree.
But, I'm on the money line and laying the wood, the short wood.
There you go.
Taking the wood, excuse me.
Yeah.
Taking the wood.
There you go. Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Taking it.
You're
there.
supposed to lay with not taking. I'm taking the point.
Taking the points there with Texas Tech. I got it wrong. Gus Johnson and is
You're
not
taking
at
wood.
the,
If you're taking wood, it's the wrong way to take because you get beat up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they shifted Gus Johnson and what's his name, Joel Klatt, out of the noon game because I think they sent them to Penn State, Iowa instead because that's the Fox game, 4 p.m. That's the game they're doing, Penn State, Iowa, Gus Johnson. So that's the Gus Johnson game, not this Ohio State game. DJ Big Boss, what do you think here?
Hey, anybody who watches this show a few times, and if you haven't, it's Texas business right here, so we going with the over all the way.
Right, there we go. Going with the over here. I agree with that. TCU's defense is terrible. I mean, they just haven't stopped anybody in the last few weeks. I agree. I would lean over here. South Alabama, Texas State. South Alabama, 4-point road favorites, 52 the total. I agree with the move to South Alabama. I like the hire of Kane Womack. Their defense has been good. Jake Bentley is slowly but surely progressing. Do you want to lay 4 now after it was 1.5? Maybe, maybe not. But I can't get behind Texas State. I think South Alabama is the way to go. I would still lean that way at -4. What do you think, Conor Mac?
This was a pass for me. I leaned under in this one a little bit, but I haven't bet it.
Yeah, I lean under too. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I like the under here. I mean, I don't love it. I like it. So it's probably a small lean for me, and maybe the Jaguar team also.
And DJ Big Boss.
This one came up high on my first-year coach list, and Womac's been doing his thing over there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So, here we go, a good team based off defense. I'm still on the train. We're going to ride this one out. I'm taking the USA minus the points.
All right, there we go. USA, not that USA, the other type of USA. There you go. Georgia Southern, Troy, 5.5-point home favorites, 50.5 the total. All right, Georgia Southern beat the snot out of Arkansas State. Arkansas State is horrible, so let's say that right off the hop. And number 2, they were +4 in turnovers. They actually got outgained by Arkansas. That was a bit of a fluky, weird, fortuitous win for Georgia. So they had a lot go their way, and they're a triple option team. They have to be able to run the football. And guess what? Guess who's good at stopping the run? Troy. It's just from a matchup standpoint, it's not a good matchup, in my opinion, for Georgia Southern. I know Troy had the tough game loss to South Carolina, but look, I know South Carolina is not a great SEC team, but I thought Troy competed well in that game. They only lost by 9. It took a late field goal for the Gamecocks to get the cover in that game. I would absolutely look at here toward Troy -5.5. I think the price is a little bit short. The line's gone in their favor, and I agree with it. I think Troy minus the points for me. What do you think, Conor Mac?
This is a pass for me. I haven't been too impressed with Troy. I don't want to lay that many points. Georgia Southern ran it all over Arkansas State. I don't know how good they are. It was a pass.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Georgia Southern has got some road struggles and scoring, winning, and scoring points on the road here. So it's Troy a pass here. I think, like Ian said, tough game against South Carolina, a little toughen up spot here. Then they come home and they get to take on a lighter opponent. So it's definitely Troy a pass.
All right, Troy or pass for a Big Ragoo. What do you think, boss?
I think this is a pass right here. I'm not sold on this Troy team, and we're not sure how well this Georgia Southern team is going. I think this week in some conferences and some conference games, you just got to sit back and watch them so we can start determining what tier we're going to put the team on, the top in the conference or the lower in the conference. And this matchup right here is going to be a true test. Let us see exactly where these teams are at.
All right, next up, we've got UTEP Southern Miss. UTEP 2-point road favorites, 46 the total. How about Dana Dimmel and his UTEP Miners? My goodness, I mean, a nice little start to the year, 4-1 straight up, 3-2 against the spread for UTEP. The only loss was to Boise. Now their schedule has been light. New Mexico State, New Mexico, Old Dominion. They haven't beaten anybody really, truly good. But is Southern Miss any good? They're 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread, down to their third-string quarterback as well for this game. Ty Keys, who was the starter last week, is injured. The other quarterback, Trey Lowe, is out, which means it's Jake Lang time at quarterback here for Southern Miss in this game. He saw some action Saturday, but he also threw some interceptions in the game against Rice, 304 through the air, but 3 interceptions as well. So how good is he going to be is the question. I'm not stepping in front of UTEP. They've been good. They're 4-1. All they got to do is win the game to cover. and against a team with a third-string quarterback in there. So I would only look at the UTEP side. I'd go mining for units. Get that axe out, like in the logo, mining for units here with UTEP, mining for profits. I'd only look at the UTEP side here in this game. Conor Mac, what do you think?
I don't have a bet on this one. UTEP keeps getting it done, and Southern Miss just keeps losing. They lose to Rice, to Troy, 21-9. Not a game that I'm interested in. And the game stayed under. I had that over in that Rice game last week. Drove me nuts. I couldn't believe it didn't get over. But yeah, just a pass for me here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm interested in UTEP a lot. UTEP has been one of those teams that not necessarily under the radar, but if you go back and you look at the matrices and the stacks up on this team, I mean, they put up some solid numbers week in, week out. And like you said, going up against a third-string quarterback, all I got to do is win. Give me UTEP all day.
All right, what do you think here, DJ?
Hey, I say it week in, week out. You know, I'm a big advocate for fourth-year coaches, and Dana Demo is right here in his fourth year, and he's right on schedule. You know, he's only lost one game. He's gonna bring it to every opponent that's beneath him right here. He has no choice. I think we're getting a good line at this one. I like UTEP a lot right here.
Yeah.
All right, like in UTEP here, less than a field goal here in this one. All right, we've got UTSA and Western Kentucky. This is one of the favorite group of 5 games that I'm looking forward to today in terms of the non-power 5. Western Kentucky, 3-point home favorites, 71.5 the total. I like the Roadrunners here. Meep. They're an underdog. I like them getting points. I think they're the better defense. Now, Western Kentucky's a good team, great offense, great passing game with Bailey Zappi, that air raid offense. But and I think it's going to be points both ways. I mean, I do think this game goes over the total, even at 71.5. I think it's very high scoring. I've been betting Western Kentucky over every week, and it keeps cashing. Yeah, it's a little higher, but I still like the over here. But I just think in a back and forth, close shootout type of game, I think UTSA is the defense that can make that extra stop or two that maybe Western Kentucky can't, and that's going to be the difference. Like I see this one being like 42-38, 38-35, something like that, and I think UTEP pulls out the win. So I like UTEP to win outright, and I like the over here in this game as well. And this is where I like to back UTEP. I think getting points as an underdog, they're perfect on the season against the spread when they're getting points. So UTSA for me, and as well as the over. Frank Harris, quarterback, Sincere McCormick, running back, good receiving talent as well. Should be a lot of points both ways, but I think UTSA pulls it out. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I lean with UTSA, just the more complete football team. I think they have the better defense. Western Kentucky doesn't, but they'll be able to score too. This should be close. And yeah, I'd rather be with points than laying them. That total's high. I know Western Kentucky, all their games have gone over. I'd be leery. It might get there. I'm going to pass on the total, though.
There you go. All right, we got some touchdowns on the board. Baylor and Texas already scoring touchdowns in their games just started. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, UTSA all the way. Getting points against a, I think it sets up better offensively for them than it does for the Hilltoppers. But the Hilltoppers, they're going to score too. So whether they get to that big number or not, but we're going to trade touchdowns here. I'm going to take UTSA.
All right, taking UTSA here. Boss, what do you like?
My eyes is in I don't know what I'm looking at right here. It says Western Kentucky 441 yards in the air per game.
Yeah. That's that Houston Baptist transfer kid.
UTSA 270 in the air per game. It's nowhere to go but over. No matter how high, it'll probably be 80 points in this game.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be high scoring. There's no question here. UTSA and Western Kentucky. So we'll see how this one goes. All right, we continue along now. Next up, as we roll along, we're doing a better pace than last week. We're not going to be 3 hours this week. LSU and Kentucky. Kentucky 2.5-point home favorites, 50.5 the total. I like Kentucky here. I said it on Monday. LSU is a program that, look, the hot seat is hot right now for Ed Orgeron. I mean, there are people disappointed with what LSU has done in 2 years since they won that national championship. Defense is very inconsistent. They can't get stops consistently. Max Johnson and the offense hasn't performed as well as I think. We'd think Kentucky's defense is good, and usually it is good, but now they've got a little bit of an offense with Will Levis at quarterback. I don't know. LSU, to me, is a little bit going down. Kentucky's going up a little bit. Less than a field goal at home. Sign me up for Kentucky. I like them to get the job done. Conor Mac, what do you think?
This is a pass for me. I lean under. Kentucky's going to win this game. They got to do it with their defense in a tight one. So lean Kentucky and lean the under.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I don't have a spot here, but when you lose when you lose your defensive coordinator and he goes, and then you lose your offensive coordinator, he goes to the NFL. It's reorganization time, and sometimes it's hard to hold things down, even if you have the talent on the field. So, and that's where LSU is right now. So it's a Kentucky or pass, but I'm not playing it.
All right, boss.
I think LSU is a fake. I mean, it's such a big school with so much tradition. Even in their down years, they're gonna always, in the media and stuff, bubble as if they had a chance. I think this team really don't have a chance long term. They're in a tough spot against a Kentucky team who just came off a great win, which they could be, a little hungover spot for Kentucky. But I'm not gonna believe in a hungover spot right now. Kentucky needs these wins in their conference. A win against LSU, they need that in their pocket moving forward because they'll have Florida, they'll have LSU. That'll probably put them over, to almost the top tier. We'll be talking about if they creeping up in the championship game or something. But what they're doing on offense, they've been working on that for years. When they lost Snell a few years back, they stepped a couple steps back on offense, but they got it back on track now, and they can play a little defense as well. This is one of the plays I got to the window with already, so I'm taking Kentucky -3.
There you go, liking Kentucky here. And by the way, Hoops590 asking, we all kind of like Iowa in some form, and we all kind of like the under in some form. So there you go with the Penn State-Iowa game. All right, we got Michigan and Nebraska. Speaking of Big Ten games, here's another one. Michigan 2.5-point road favorites, 50 the total. This opened 3.5. At 3.5, I'm off the game. Now at 2.5, I'm interested in Michigan here. I'm not ready to trust Nebraska, even at home, with Adrian Martinez against a very good defense that's played well this year. Look, Michigan's played great football this year. Wisconsin, all the wins they've had, the offense with McNamara, they've ran the football well with Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins. The O-lines play well. The defense has been great. They had one half of football where they kind of let their foot off the gas against Rutgers. That's about it. I mean, they've played really good football. And look, Nebraska's a point spread machine right now. Give them credit. They've played better than we thought. Their defense is pretty good, actually, lately, Nebraska. But are they ready to win a game of this caliber against a pretty good Michigan team? I'm not sure if they've improved that much yet, Scott Frost. And he's had trouble winning games like this. At less than a field goal, I'm going to bet Michigan now that it's fallen to -2.5, and I lean to the under as well. Conor Mac, Michigan, Nebraska.
Yeah, I just see defense. This is an under for me. Nothing on the side.
All right, good stuff. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
I lean Michigan with the 2.5 in like you. Undefeated team, solid football all year. They finally turned the corner on the offensive side of things. And Nebraska, even though they're at home, they're getting points and their defense is pretty decent. I think they out-muscle them a little bit here. I think Michigan can get the cover, laying the 2.5.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, second road game in a row for Michigan, that bothers me too, but less than a field goal now. I think they can find a way still. And Texas, by the way, is rolling early agaginst Oklahoma. Disaster.
Get to that 30.5 early. Let's cash a ticket.
Come on here. Let's go. Over and Texas team total over is what me and Big Ragoo liked in this game. So good start with that. And I think DJ liked the over as well with Oklahoma and Texas. So good start there. All right, we got Notre Dame. Speaking of Big Boss, Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. We've got Pick'em -1 here with Virginia Tech. The total 47 in this game. It'll be interesting to see how it goes here in this one. But to me, I got to look at the Hokies. Saturday night, Blacksburg Lane Stadium. Enter Sandman blaring on the speakers in the stadium. Bye week for Virginia Tech. Extra time to prepare for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame coming off Purdue, Cincinnati, Wisconsin. Quite a gauntlet for them the last 3 weeks of tough games, physical games, O-line issues. Jack Cohn's been banged up. Is he going to get through a full football game? Are we going to see Drew Pine at all? I don't know. To me, Notre Dame, the loss last week against Cincy, physical games 2 weeks in a row. I think you're looking at a situation where it might come back to this is where they feel it, maybe hit a wall a bit. And Virginia Tech rested, fresh, bye week, home Saturday night in Blacksburg. Tough situation, I think, for Notre Dame. And I think for Virginia Tech, they can get the win. I love their defense. I'm not a big Burmeister fan, their quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, but they can run the ball enough. He's at least avoided mistakes for the most part. And I think if he does that, give Virginia Tech a chance to win this games here. So I like the Hokies here at Pick'em at home, especially the situation. The situationals definitely favor Virginia Tech in this game. Conor Mac, we'll start with you here, Notre Dame,
Yep.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Valtek's rested. Take him here. I think the game will be close, but I think Burmeister just does enough. And I like the under as well.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Kelly always keeps the games interesting no matter who he plays, right, DJ? But same time, the schedule's been brutal for this team. I don't have a play on the game, but this is the game I want to watch this evening for sure. This one and the other SEC game tonight.
Yeah, it'll absolutely be interesting. DJ Big Boss, your Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a tough spot.
Man, I gotta say, hats off to Kelly, man. He always put these kids in a winning predicament. Even against Cincy, we was fourth quarter with the ball down by 3. Every game, the big losses and all. He plays fair. I overlooked it last week taking the over though. That he was playing against some of his older colleagues. A lot of respect in that game. They wanted to keep it low. Nobody was gonna run the total up. I don't know why I was on the over. So I kind of missed on the total side right there. But after watching Kelly this week on the press conference, he's kind of monotone. I think it knocked a little wind out of him because it knocked a little wind out of me. That could have been another one of those little fairy tale teams that had they kept the winning streak going. But I was expecting losses from the beginning of the season. Since he was one that I expected, and I even went the other way when it got there. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's just fan stuff right there. So this week I'm gonna be taking my fan bet, man. I'm taking Virginia Tech, but I'll still be rooting Notre Dame. I'll toss. I lost bets for less before, so it's no big deal. But on the total side, I think Kelly knows. He's holding back who he's gonna play at quarterback, And let me get the myths out of there, though. We don't got no offensive line problems like that. The problem is in the backfield. We got the wrong back for the right line. This is a big line. They need something strong pushing behind them. This little backs that we got that's trying to find the edge and all these other things. Those are for smaller linemen who do those little sweep type motions that allow those holes to open up on the outside. So the real problem is with the backs, and that's difficult. So can't back Notre Dame on the side right now until they get the offense. But the defense plays well. I'm starting to like the defense more and more. It's just the offense won't stay on the field long enough to give them a little rest. But going over here into Virginia Tech is going to be tough for them. Kelly's going to have to, he's a good manager. That's what coach is supposed to do, manage the team. So he's going to manage them right here. I think he has to take it slow. He's got to keep Virginia Tech offense off the field and work his way down the field with his offense. So I'm going to be watching the game. I'm going to be having my fan bet up there. I'll be rooting Notre Dame, but my money will be lying on Virginia Tech, and I also endorse the under in that one.
All right, likes Virginia Tech and the under, but still going to hope for the best for his Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Utah, USC. USC 3-point home favorites, 52.5 the total. I like Utah here. I'm going to give them a shot. It's a plum spot for Utah, perfect spot situation off a bye week. It gives Cam Rising the chance to really settle in at quarterback. He got the start against Washington State before the bye after Charlie Brewer left the program abruptly. And I think that's going to give him a chance to really settle in running this offense for the Utes going into this game. And I've seen enough of USC to know don't trust them after they look good in the previous game. Look at this season for them. San Jose State 30-7, fall flat on their faces against Stanford the next game. They beat up Washington State 45-14, fall flat on their faces the next game against Oregon State, lose 45-27. Last week they pummel a bad Colorado team, 37-14. If you follow the pattern, they fall on their faces today, USC. That's what they do after a good game. Slovis was better last week, and he's played actually well the last couple, but I don't know. Utah's defense is disappointed. The whole team is disappointed, but a reset button, a big Pac-12 South Division game here, bye week with a good coach in Whittingham. Give me Utah here, +3, and I think they can win outright. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this one. I can't figure out. SC says that they win, then they'll come home and lay an egg. Utah, Brewer left. I just don't want nothing to do with this one. It's a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm going to steal a line for DJ. I don't want no part of the drama.
Yeah, I'm out.
All joking aside, but a lot of inconsistencies with Southern Cal. And I don't know, maybe, I do like Whittingham, definitely as a coach, without question, where he can coach these kids up to get ready. And Utah usually gives USC fits when they play them. So we'll see what happens here, but it's a pass for me.
Yeah, we just covered the Michigan game, Andrew, a few seconds ago. So rewind that for sure, and you'll be able to see what we said about that game, definitely. So make sure you do that. All right, good stuff. Utah, I mean, look, this might be the last time. They haven't covered a point spread this year, Utah. But if they this is a great situation for them, spot off a bye. If they don't get it done today, it might be time to just punt on Utah for the rest of the season because it really does set up well for them. DJ Big Boss, what do you like here?
I'd like to stay away from this game. A lot of drama right here. Out here on the West Coast, we call it thugging it out. So SC is basically kind of thugging it out. The team kind of ran by itself. So thugging it out can be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It can mean that we come together and just get on the field and kick butt, or it could be at the slightest bit of it's going to be a loss, we just spread it open and let them have it. So teams like USC on down years, they similar to Notre Dame. Everybody want to take your hat when you're down, so Utah definitely want to run up in the Coliseum and walk away with a W. So I don't know. If you're willing to play that late night Pac-12, go ahead and take Utah, but don't be mad if SC beat you.
The number should tell you that the number should tell you the story there. 3 points only.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's why I can't play it.
Yeah, exactly. It tells you that USC, not many people giving them a bunch of confidence or faith right now. Georgia State, UL Monroe. Georgia State, 16-point road favorites, 49.5 the total. Rhett Rodriguez is out for UL Monroe at quarterback, which means it's going to – and he's actually capable. He's somewhat decent. The other guys they played last week, Chandler Rogers, Colby Suits, they were awful. Absolutely terrible. So it's hard to trust them. Georgia State, though, laying 16 on the road. Do you want to do that? I'm not sure, but Monroe was just inept offensively last week against Coastal, 59-6 without Rhett Rodriguez. I'm not backing them. I'd lean Georgia State if I had to. Let's not forget they did compete with Auburn. They did beat Charlotte before that. They had a bad game against App State last week, 45-16, but I would only look Georgia State. Don't love it, but I would only look favorite here. Conor Mac?
Yeah, I'd lean Georgia State. Ugly. Sunfight. Pass.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, lower level with Monroe. Even though they say that they won. Did they win their last 2 games, Monroe, or not?
They lost. Monroe lost against Coastal.
They're 2-0 at home. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, right? Because if you look at their numbers, they're putrid. But and I'm not going to lay 16 with Georgia State here, but it'd have to be Georgia State to pass it. I couldn't take Monroe, even though they're 2-0 at home.
Yeah, those 2 quarterbacks were so rough. Last week, I cannot take Monroe after what I saw from them. What do you think, your DJ Big Boss?
Even though Monroe was a fade team coming out at the beginning of the season, Lil Bowden over there did a good job. Got 2 wins at home so far. That'd probably be over the season for them already. But without the quarterback, we don't know. But like I said, I'm not going to be big on injury like that. Whoever was behind them, they've seen enough of the system to know, what to do. But I'm not going to play the game either, but if I was going to play it, I would back Bowden. He's bringing a little defense there. This Georgia State team likes to run the ball. He can defend the run pretty good, so he's going to make them do something they're not used to doing. So he may have a chance, but you might want to get it in and get it out in the first half. But I'm going to be off, though.
All right, next up, Alabama, Texas A&M, Alabama, 18-point road favorites, 50.5 the total. I like Texas A&M under the team total for them more than anything. I don't know if I want to lay 18 with Alabama. I mentioned the first half earlier in the week, but it was -9.5, 10 early in the week. Now it's 12.5. So that's gone up, but you can't argue with Alabama first half. All they do is continue to cover first half numbers. I mean, this A&M offense is reeling big time. I mean, Zach Calzada, he's really struggled since taking over for the injured Haynes King. The O-line looks bad for A&M. There's not as many playmakers down the field as I thought. And unless their defense plays outstanding, and they do have a decent defense, A&M, they are going to be in trouble here. And this Bryce Young Alabama offense, it's starting to kick it into high gear the last few weeks. 31 against Florida, 63 to Southern Miss, 42 against what we thought was a very good, improving Ole Miss team. Yeah, Bama first half, if anything, and I lean to the A&M team total under as well. I mean, they've got a good defense. It seems like a lot to lay on the road against what we thought was a good A&M team coming into the year, but I think they were overrated coming into the year, A&M. We're starting to see that with the way they've played lately. Conor Mac, Alabama, Texas A&M.
Simple. Bama, first half. Roll Tide. Just keep it going.
Keep it
Same
going.
play
I mean,
every
even
week.
this year. Yeah, I think every
Yep.
game is covered for the first half for Alabama once again. Even the Florida game where they didn't cover for the full game, the first half, they did cover the point spread. So keep that in mind. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Bama first half and lean towards the full game under in this spot.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
It's Bama first half or nothing for me. This Texas A&M team, I don't know where Jimbo Fisher hit the offense, but it's hidden. Maybe he's not happy with the players that he have. He's waiting for something that fits his playbook a little better. But something's wrong over there at Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's been disappointing. To have a couple losses already like this, a Mississippi State game, they didn't bounce back last week after losing to Arkansas. Definitely trouble for Jimbo there at College
75 million
Station.
reasons why it's trouble in Texas A&M.
yeah, absolutely. Whack Prescott, yes, I did like the over in the Duke game. So there you go. All right, Memphis-Tulsa. Tulsa, 3-point home favorite, 60.5 the total. Give me Tulsa here, -3. I know they had a rough game against Houston last week. Terrible game. They got embarrassed at home by the Cougars. Cougars are playing really good football. Memphis has been a fade for me the last couple weeks. I bet against them a lot. UTSA, they lost. I took them against, I took Temple as home dogs against Memphis, and Temple beat them outright last week. I think this Memphis program is in decline. And if Tulsa's got any heart, any pride, any spirit, I think they show a lot better for themselves after getting embarrassed by Houston on a Friday night national TV home game. And I still think they're a little bit better, especially defensively, than Memphis. Give me Tulsa here, -3. Bounce back. Davis Brin has to play better, though. I've been disappointed with Davis Brin, the Tulsa quarterback. He's got to step it up. I think he can against a suspect defense. Conor Mac, Memphis, Tulsa.
I'd be on Memphis here. I don't even know if I want the points. I just take a money line. I haven't been high on either of these teams. Tulsa should bounce back, but I don't know if I bet this one, but I'd be on Memphis.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, the problem with Tulsa is they don't have a lot of quality wins, and Memphis is just kind of mediocre here. So I would probably lean towards the dog in this spot, but not crazy about a total, but probably lean Memphis.
All right, lean toward Memphis. DJ Big Boss.
Oh, that's a total pass for me. Around this time of the day, it's Mountain West time, so I'm gonna be on the Mountain West by then. But I'll pass on this one.
Well, how about this for timing? Our next game, Mountain West,
Hey.
New Mexico, San Diego State. We've got San Diego State 19.5-point home favorites, 42.5 the total. I mean, I know they're going to get Jordan Brookshire back at quarterback this week, San Diego State, which is good. He's probable. He's probably the best quarterback they've got. But this is still not an offense where I'm rushing out to lay 19.5 with you. I'm just not. I think it's a lower scoring game. Little New Mexico has been definitely not a great offense. I get that. But this is a lot of points for a mediocre, pedestrian Aztecs offense to be laying in this game. I know New Mexico is brutal, 0-5 against the spread this year. Haven't covered a number yet. Lose to UTEP by 7. Get blown out by Air Force by 28. But, is San Diego State that team we trust to, be incredible offensively? I know they've shown it at times against Arizona. But, see it here with Brookshire coming back. We'll have to wait and see. They did have a nice win against Utah in overtime, but Utah's kind of disappointed. Don't love this game. I mean, I know it's a winless ATS team, but this is just not the right type of price range for me to trust San Diego State. I do not trust San Diego State laying 19.5. Simple as that. So for me, I would only lean to the Lobos here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't trust them to lay 19.5 either. But San Diego State, a little different team, score some points here so far during the year. 3 straight overs as well. Can they cover the 3 touchdowns? They win this game. I don't want to pay to see it, so pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, it's a pass. They probably want Bob Davies back, right? Big boss down in New Mexico.
Yeah, well, you know, you got
but yeah,
you got
it's a
yeah,
pass for me.
you got you know, these guys are all colleagues with that Rocky Long, the defense, you know, all of them, they, you know, so the total being set so low, you know, it's going to be a respectable game. Nobody's going to try to do nothing crazy to each other, but this one of those spots where I would say when stuff is too much alike, kind of contrary goes over in this spot right here. I mean, they're both running basically the same defense, so they know what's going on with that defense in practice. If you know how to run it, you know how to beat it, you know where the loopholes is. So I think and I got a little faith in Danny Gonzalez with this New Mexico. Somewhere he's gonna get these athletes in the end zone because he has a little talent there. Just I don't know, it's just not coming together well. Leaving the defense out there too long, so they don't really do what they supposed to do. So I've been kind of back in New Mexico and losing, but I wouldn't back them in this spot. I wouldn't lay the 19 either with San Diego State, but San Diego State has showed that they could score some points in some of these non-conference games. So if they got a little experience getting to the end zone or even throwing the ball a little better, then they put some points up, and I think New Mexico squeezes in a touchdown or two, and somehow we get this total over 40. I think it went all the way down to 42.5 now.
Yep, that's right.
That's pretty low, man. So that's what we're looking at 6 touchdowns. So I know San Diego State got 4 in them. So I will just be hoping for New Mexico to get in there twice.
Well, you're going to need something from Terry Wilson, the Kentucky transfer, who, look, it's amazing these lower tier programs, they just pick off these transfer quarterbacks, think, hey, he's going to be good just because he's on a lower program. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Terry Wilson had 6 touchdowns, no interceptions in his first 2 games, but they were against Houston Baptist and New Mexico State. The last 3 games for him against A&M, UTEP, and Air Force, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. So there's the real Terry Wilson. I mean, that's what he is. He's just not a very good thrower quarterback. And if they can't run it, that worries me for New Mexico here. So interesting game there. All right, we've only got a couple games left here. The last 2 games on this card, both of them the 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start times. UCLA, Arizona. UCLA 16-point road favorite, 60.5 the total. This is an easy pass for me. I just right away early in the week, I said, I'm not betting this game. I'm not laying 16.5 with UCLA on the road, but I'm not really trusting Arizona either. So it's a hard game for me. I still would lean slightly to the Bruins, but not enough to lay this number with them on the road. Conor Mac, UCLA, Arizona.
Yeah, I don't want this one. UCLA should win this game, but I don't want to lay 60 on Arizona. Just hasn't been good. I can't back them either. And I don't know about the total. I don't know if they can get there. I know UCLA's been over for me every game, but Arizona's got to put up points for this to work. So that's a pass for me as well.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean towards the under. I'm with Connor. I think Arizona's going to have to contribute. UCLA is going to get theirs, but is Arizona going to get theirs? So I think they might sneak over with the number with the cover here too. But I'm not getting to the window either way.
And DJ Big Boss.
I got off the UCLA train at the last stop, and I'm just sitting at the bench. I don't know if I'm gonna even go that direction anymore. So I'm off UCLA for the time being. I expected a lot. I mean, they truly have the athletes on the field, but they just not putting it together. I don't think they led by the right troops. So I'm gonna just watch.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very spotty, erratic 3-2. I mean, kind of disappointing with the win against LSU. Everybody got excited, but they lose to Fresno. Just a terrible game against Arizona State last week. You would think bounce back spot here for UCLA, and they could, but just very, very erratic. And Jordan McLeod, the South Florida transfer, is now the Arizona quarterback, and he's been spotty. 5 interceptions already, and he didn't even start the first week. So I still lean UCLA to bounce back, but just don't really love laying 16 on the road. New Mexico State, Nevada, Mountain West to finish off the slate here. Nevada, 29-point home favorite, 64 the total. I lean to the over a little bit. I understand why this is a high total. New Mexico State is still shoddy on defense, but they've got an offense. I'm impressed with what they've done, believe it or not, New Mexico State on the offensive side. They put up points now multiple weeks against San Jose State last week, thought to have a good defense, and they end up putting up 31 points. in that game offensively. So they have impressed me with what we've seen from them in terms of moving the football lately, this New Mexico State team. Jonah Johnson back at the quarterback spot, and boy, he's looked good. Last week, 30 of 44, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 10 different receivers got involved with the reception. That's a dangerous offense right now to be given this many points. And for Nevada, it kind of is an ultimate flat spot. The big win against Boise on the road. Now you're back home facing little old New Mexico State, who lost to San Jose State by 6, Hawaii by 20. And then New Mexico, they lost by 9. They haven't really lost by this kind of margin yet this year. Their biggest margin of defeat so far this year has been 18 points, or 20 points, I should say. So, to me, I understand why New Mexico State's taking money. Look, you've been able to cash some big underdog tickets with them lately. So I lean to the dog here, the Aggies, and I like the over as well. Conor Mac, New Mexico State, Nevada.
Yeah, I had New Mexico State last week. I think this is too many here. It could be a sleepy spot. And it's still, there's 29s and a few 28.5s. As long as it's over that, I think you're good. I think they can hang around here.
And look, their defense is going to be tested and challenged by Carson Strong and that wicked, awesome.
They'll get theirs,
offense, but
they got to just put up some points to cover. Yeah.
But New Mexico State's offense could be good enough to maybe slip inside the number, I think. Big Ragoo, what do you think, New Mexico State, Nevada?
Yeah, I think they flip-flop New Mexico teams as far as New Mexico State, is normally a team that we didn't get behind, but they kind of turned it around a little bit. I mean, they're covering numbers, they're scoring points, and they're like 4-1 to with the number. Or if you've been backing them, right, something like that, 4-2, 4 wins ATS. So solid, big number to climb. 30 points. That's a D-Gen mode game here. Late action. My buddy, like he said, he'll be watching it. So we'll kick it away to DJ here.
All right, DJ Big Boss, our Mountain West man. What do you think?
I'm not a true lover of Carson Strong and what they got going over at Nevada, but they showed me well last week. They even got out and played a little defense at times. So I don't know. I think they similar like UCLA. They got to score 30 points and they got to give up 20 something. So I lean over in this one. But will New Mexico State continue to move the ball and get in the end zone like they've been getting? We already know they're not gonna play too much defense, but they don't run the ball a lot. They like to pass a lot. So if they pass a lot and they hit their spots, they got a chance, especially against this Nevada team who don't really care if you scoring them because they're gonna go back on offense and try to get one right back on you. So I lean heavy on the over on this one.
All right, liking the over here, DJ Big Boss. All right, there you go. That's the whole Saturday card, as always, right here on the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. We'll have best bets in just a second, but first, Manscaped Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke. I'm sure if you want to watch the UTSA football game, you'll find it there tonight against Western Kentucky. Southtown 101 in San Antonio. Manscaped promo code PubSports. You get 20% off your purchase with the promo code PubSports, Lawnmower 4.0, and any Manscaped product. So check it out. Use the promo code PubSports. And MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Football season still ongoing. Football still going. Hockey, basketball right around the corner. Make sure MLB playoffs. Sign up for an account. MyBookie.ag. No better time than right now. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit as well. MyBookie.ag, and use the promo code PubSports. All right, guys, we wrap it up as always with best bets to wrap up the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show here on Pub Sports Radio. Hit the like button on the way out, everybody that's tuning in if you haven't already. Conor Mac, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
All right, I'm going with Vautech. Pick them. They beat Notre Dame today. I think they handle them. I also have. I'll give you another one. I'll have a bet on the under as well in that game. I think Virginia Tech gets it home, rested. The place will be rocking. They beat Notre Dame. It was twice in a row.
There you go. Breaking the heart of DJ Big Boss, although he's taking Virginia Tech.
Yeah, he's taking him too.
Virginia
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. Virginia Tech pick 'em just to win the game. Best bet for Conor Mac against Notre Dame. Big Ragoo, your turn. Best bet. What do you like?
I think the best bet if you're in San Antonio, you stop by Southtown and have you a nice cocktail and something to eat because I can't wait to get down there and do that. I'm sure somebody's buying me a drink when I get there too. So I'm looking forward. That's the bucket list for me. I'm coming soon though. All right, best bet for today: college football. Texas Tech, the Raiders, Red Raiders get the job done. Outright win. Cash a ticket. See you at the window. We'll talk about it next week.
There you go. Texas Tech plus 2.5 against TCU, winning outright, says Big Ragoo. And I like the Red Raiders side there as well. Best bet for Big Ragoo. DJ Big Boss, you're up next. Best bet.
Hey, I've been on the roll on the best bets. I'm gonna keep it simple today. I'm gonna go at the spot that I think has the least value for the other team, and that's Michigan minus the 2.5. I'm taking them right there. And Big Ragoo, anytime, let me know. I'll meet you over there at Southtown 101. Yeah. We're gonna hang out.
We're making a family reunion.
We'll show them how we party.
Absolutely. Good stuff there. We got, all right, Michigan minus 2.5 against Nebraska. Best bet for DJ Big Boss. I'm going to give you, because this is a dead heat for me with these two, I'm going to give you two best bets just for this week. I mean, I don't normally do that. I'm going to give you two. We're going to go East Carolina plus 10 against Central Florida. I think that's a very live road underdog there. And I'm also good. That's my favorite side of the day, probably. My favorite total of the day, I'm going to give you that one too. SMU Navy over 56. I think it gets there for sure. I love both of those. All right, East Carolina plus 10, SMU Navy over 56. Two best bets from yours truly here for the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. That's a wrap, guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We're back next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific for the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. UFC stream tonight. Make sure you check that out.
Actually, soon. I think it's like 3 hours or something like that.
Exactly.
I think it's early again.
Coming up earlier today because it's an earlier card. They moved it up because they didn't want to interfere with Wilder Fury on the boxing side. But nevertheless, tune in later today to the UFC live stream. Good stuff. Thanks to everybody for joining in, for the donos, for the support. Thanks for everything from everyone tuning in. For Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, I'm Ian Cameron. Let's have a great Saturday. Make it a winning one. We'll see you next Saturday once again, right here on the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show on Pub Sports Radio.